with that, this is the first episode of On the Platform. I am Trip. We have Bam, Justin, and we are sitting inside the building at Bauer Strength. We have a couple of fun things today, as you can see from the pile of everything on the table. So might want to get into there, and we can start talking hydration here. So real quick, before we get into anything, are you a doctor?
No.
Are you a doctor?
Not that I'm aware of.
I am not a doctor. I actually don't like most doctors.
No.
So
Nah.
nothing is
Medical
advice. This is hopefully entertaining, but entertainment purposes only.
How going to my doctor is for entertainment purposes only.
Depends on the doctor.
Hard steer.
And another point is there is no sponsorship. So this episode, any future episodes at this point, everything is we bought it. We're testing it out. The opinions are our own, much as they may be.
No, I mean, you're willing to, if you're willing to buy our opinions for the right amount of money.
Yeah.
There is a price tag, yes.
Not saying we can't be bought.
Right.
Well, I'm not saying I'm soulless, but like
sponsorships.
Yes, sponsorships.
Yeah. We can consider that. So
Justin really wants a sponsorship from Rogue.
Hand me over that. So one of the first topics that we came up with here was something that I got for free. It wasn't sent on that. It was with another purchase. They said, hey, just pay shipping and we'll send you this assortment. And this is Element. So we've seen this on a number of other podcasts. Honestly, the list of flavors here just seemed too interesting for me to try all by myself. So we got a bunch of water. We got a bunch of cups. We're going to start mixing them up and we'll go from there. Which one are you most interested to try?
The first one, the mango chili.
The mango chili. Well, here, why don't you mix that one up?
All right. I'll get into it.
Which do you think?
I want to try the raspberry one just because I think it sounds good. Not because it sounds entertaining.
Hold on. Drop the cap.
Uh-oh. Well, there's a raspberry. And I'm going to go with the raw and flavored one.
Oh, God.
Because that just sounds like fun.
Just salt.
But salt would be a flavor.
Yeah, that's true.
So it says 16 to 32 ounces. It says try it out and you'll find where you're happiest. We've got, what are these, 20-ounce bottles? 20 fluid ounce bottles. We probably should have put a bet to see which one of us is going to dump it all over the table.
I'm being very deliberate here.
Yeah, me too. I'm not trying to be a blooper reel already.
Oh, this whole thing's probably going to be a blooper reel, Bam. Anybody that's listened to three of us talk for more than 5 minutes realizes that.
That's true.
Act natural.
You guys have been friends with me long enough to see my human highlight reel.
I got to say, I'm a little surprised, and I'm glad we didn't mix these up to begin with.
Yeah, no color.
I bought clear cups because I figured they were going to be fancy and color here.
They are definitely not.
But it's kind of nice.
Let's do them one at a time then, instead of just pouring them up and trying to guess what they are.
All right. So which one do you want to start with?
I'm going to start with this raw and flavored one here.
All right.
So let's everybody get a cup. And we'll pour some out. We'll see how this works. And with nothing but the best Walmart water.
It's fancy here.
I'm gonna set this on the label so we know which one it is in case we want more of it.
All right. Cheers, elbows up.
Cheers.
Oh, it tastes like.
Don't say it.
Eye drops. That's just the saline.
Yeah. It really is. It's just salt water.
I will say it probably could be hidden fairly easily in just about any other anything that you like.
Yeah.
A little bit of some kind of
It's
juice.
not bad. It's just there's just nothing to it.
Put it with
salt
some
water.
liquid IV or,
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Who's up next?
I'll go next. Pass cup, pass cup. All right. So mango chili.
I'm not looking forward to this. I'm not big on refreshing with spicy things.
Yeah.
See, I'm curious if they're just trying to capture that flavor, like, because they make those mango chili. I can't.
You don't have to dump the whole bottle.
drink, my friend.
Oh man.
They make those mango chili candies that you can pick up in the 7-Eleven or Handy Way or whatever.
I have not tried those.
It's in the Spanish
All right.
section.
So it's mango chili. Huh?
Cheers.
Still a lot of salt.
A lot of salt. Get a lot of mango, not a whole lot of chili.
Yeah.
There's a little chili.
A little chili in the back end, yeah. It's not terrible.
No.
It reminds me of something else though. I'm not sure what.
Yeah, if you take a big gulp, you get more of that chili in there.
It reminds me a lot of the flavor from the bottom of like an old can of fruit cocktail.
Oh.
Yeah.
With kind of the grape flavor in the back almost.
Yeah, there it is. Big gulp, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm not drinking a whole one of those.
All right, which flavor you got over there, babe?
The raspberry salt.
Raspberry salt.
Just try not to get my beard in the microphone. I have no idea what that'll sound like, but probably
Static.
Now, see, this is an interesting one. Raspberry, I'm 50-50 on. About half of the raspberry flavored things out there, I detest.
Yeah.
The rest of them I really like.
I like blue raspberry typically, but I don't know that does anything with the flavor other than add food coloring.
So you know where blue raspberry came from?
No.
They wanted to do a raspberry flavor, but there's already so many red fruit flavors out there that they said, why can't we make it blue?
Ah, so
blue
it is
has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, so it is just the food coloring in it. All right,
Yeah.
cheers.
Cheers.
That's not terrible.
No, it's
It's not bad.
decent.
Yeah, I could see actually chasing that on a hot day.
Yeah.
Maybe colder. And
Yeah.
with a little bit more water, just to cut it
Yeah.
a little bit more. Almost like what are those beverages that they say it's like TV static while somebody shouts the name of a fruit from
LaCroix,
another room.
yeah. Tastes like was carried in a truck next to strawberries.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody drove through a strawberry field with unflavored water.
That one was interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see what we've
That's
got.
probably got my vote so far
Yeah.
as the best.
I think so.
All right, so we have left citrus salt. I'll take that one. Orange salt, which I'm guessing is different from citrus salt. Watermelon, lemon habanero, and chocolate.
I'm interested in the lemon
Of
habanero.
course you are.
Going after the spicy.
Yeah,
Some
the
of us
watermelon.
live the spicy life.
Watermelon.
The one I'm really not looking forward to is the chocolate.
Wow. Those mute buttons work good.
Ah, nice.
I know you guys heard it, but the people watching at home didn't.
Did you pass another bottle of water when you get a chance?
Absolutely. And I do like the single serving packets.
Yeah.
I drink a lot of powdered drinks, and scooping them out of a can or a jar or it's a
Yeah.
pain in the butt.
It is. I mean, I think Crystal Light was like the first to really push like the single serving drop in and all that. And I mean, there's so many of them out there now
Well,
that it's just so convenient.
What I will say on this one, though, is if you notice, you don't have to dump any of the water out first.
No.
Yeah.
It actually fits in the bottle of water. Most of the other ones that you get, because I like there's a lot of sugar in it, but I like the Country Time lemonade ones.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was addicted to those for a whole summer. But you had to tip part of the bottle out or take a gulp first because
Yeah.
it wouldn't fit in the bottle.
This one's a lot cloudier than the last.
Still surprised at I guess the chocolate one would work so good as a color though.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Who's first?
I think we just get the lemon having your one out of the way.
All right. Let's go.
Get that one out of the way.
I feel like it's an uphill climb from there.
All right.
I'm actually curious what the cigars will taste like after all this.
Do a splash.
Not looking forward to this at all.
Oh.
Well, so after the mango one wasn't obnoxious,
Yeah.
I'm actually not as scared of this one now. He's just going all in.
What can I say? All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Nope. Nope.
I kind of hate it.
Dude, it tastes like someone spit Copenhagen into lemonade.
It's almost like a salt and vinegar potato chip.
No, those are actually good.
That somebody spit Copenhagen.
Yeah.
I'm not picking up the Copenhagen.
You're not catching
Copenhagen straight. Like
on the back of your.
not the wintergreen. Straight.
Kind of like that bitterness out of
Yeah.
there. Yeah. I guess I can see that.
Right on the back of the.
Yeah.
Top of the throat.
Yeah, not the main taste, but
No,
like
no.
that bitterness that you
Oh.
catch. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a hard pass.
Yeah. I wasn't too excited. I wasn't too excited about that one when I saw it on there.
Oh God! Did you down that?
Maybe.
You hate yourself a whole lot more.
I mean, self-loathing makes for interesting chasers.
All right. So here's citrus salt, which I'm interested in, seeing as we also have lemons and oranges and
Orange
everything else.
salt,
I mean,
yeah.
there's other citrus.
It does have a little bit of spice now that it's sat for a minute.
It tastes like lemonade.
No, you know what I'm getting? And now I really want to try and. Do you ever have those little Dixie cup sized Italian ices?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does that not taste like? I like this one.
It's kind of
this
got
is
a little
really
bit of
good.
that in it.
It
I'm
tastes.
not a fan of this one for some reason.
He doesn't like the obvious good one, but he'll drink the one that tastes like someone spit in it.
There's not enough pain in the drink for you.
I don't feel like it's working. I'm not needing to shiver immediately after taking a sip.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That
It's
one,
not bad. It's,
I may buy that one.
all right. Which one did you get there, Bam?
The watermelon.
Watermelon.
We'll talk current hydration strategies, I guess, after we're done surviving these. Because I think everybody out there does something a little bit different.
Yeah.
That was ominous looking. Now this one I'm interested in too. Wow, that
Oh, you pick up that
smells-
watermelon.
I'm not tasting the watermelon.
No,
so
I'm getting a
much,
lot of salt. Like
but I'm not.
I'm getting it. It's back in that like LaCroix. Like you
Yeah.
get the smell, like the aroma of the watermelon in your mouth, but not much of the taste.
Yeah.
Do either one of you the kind of person that puts the salt on your whatever fruit?
yeah.
I never understood that, but does this bring any of that?
No.
See now, like I like on the watermelon. There's that. It's kind of like that Tony Chachere's, but it's a little different. And y'all don't know.
No.
Y'all know nothing about no Tonys.
I know about Tony's. I don't know
Alright.
what Tony's you put on
Taijin,
watermelon.
Taijin seasoning, I think.
Yeah, tagine. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had before where they would put that on like watermelon popsicles.
Yeah.
And that's outstanding. But that doesn't have like a strong enough watermelon taste. To me.
That just made me sad.
All right.
I'll do the chocolate.
I mean, we're all gonna drink it.
Yeah, no, but
It's
like,
like-
I'll make it my responsibility. Apparently.
Yeah, because you got to kill all the ones in front of you before
Yeah,
we
It's like,
leave.
what? No.
What?
I've been pouring them all in the same cup. What are you talking about? You guys have been drinking them. I'm already hydrated.
I'm not.
I mean, I've had like 4 or 5 monsters. Oh, wow, this one actually is colored. Wait, should I say that?
canceled.
I'm like, it is
But
though.
why? Why the chocolate? Why? Yes, that's what I want to do. I want to drink fucking diarrhea while I'm sweating. All I can think about is Alabama's strongest, 100 degrees, right there on the Gulf with no wind
Yeah,
because it's the Gulf.
just in a
And yeah,
armpit.
what I want is fucking chocolate. And I want
salty poo water.
exactly because nothing says refreshing quite like salty poo water.
All right, we're gonna go with that one first because this one I think needs to simmer a little bit.
So to clarify in the statement earlier, we were looking. Sponsorships are great since obviously we're not going to get a sponsorship from Element now.
I mean, I could be wrong. I might drink it and be like, motherfucker.
If that's your actual reaction, that will make me very happy. I just want you to know that.
I don't know about you guys, but I got Isaac Hayes singing South Park songs.
Chocolate salty ball.
Oh,
Oh, it's chocolate salty drink.
it's chocolate salty ball sweat. Great.
Put it in your mouth and say it. Okay, this one was orange salt.
All right. That's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
It's not as good as the citrus, but
I really like that
I
citrus.
think the citrus one's probably.
I think this one beats out the citrus for me.
Really?
Yeah, for some reason I don't know what.
He always has to disagree.
But I love orange.
yeah.
I mean,
Wouldn't it be fun if you agreed with everything?
I always drank orange Gatorade, and
Yeah.
this is almost like a slightly saltier orange Gatorade.
None of these really reminded me of the Gatorades. But this one does. The orange, I'm getting that, yeah.
Yeah. All right,
This is just.
bring the fucking poo.
And it's only really because I said something before. If I hadn't made the comment, it
Oh,
probably
it's
wouldn't have
so much worse when it comes out of this bottle. Oh my god!
So this kind of ties back in with the whole argument.
This looks like rhabdomyalgia in a bottle.
if you're drinking the protein powder, do you mix it with milk or with water? Or, and everybody's always arguing back and forth about it.
I never understood why you would mix it with anything other than milk unless you're being calorie conscious.
Right, but if you're being calorie conscious, then
Why are you
drinking whey
drinking
protein?
As we're sitting here about to take a swig of this, let me tell you something about lactose intolerance.
Oh, well, yeah, but you can get the.
It looks a lot like this.
on the actually, yeah.
Oh god.
So as Bam being the youngest one here is only a couple of years from Masters, we realize that we have three Master Strongmen sitting here having a 4-year-old discussion.
Pretty much.
You remember Joe Dirt? It's not a bomb. Elbows up.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, it's so much worse once it gets in your mouth. Holy shit. That. I think there's corn floating in yours. All right. Round 2. You know what it tastes like? Like the first time you made hot chocolate as a kid and you followed the instructions on the pack
Yeah.
because it's all watery and
Yeah.
has no fucking flavor to
Yeah.
it.
That's why none of us follow the directions to anything anymore. We learned our lesson
right.
early on.
What's this water shit in hot chocolate? You put milk in it.
Yeah, no.
All right, I'm good.
Ugh. No.
No.
I'm not. No.
And to compound that, to try to drink that on a hot day when
Yeah,
you're like
no.
fucking dying. I mean, maybe that works in Ohio or something where it's snowing
Weird.
outside.
No, without saying any names, I've heard people in Ohio say there's no way in hell they drink that either.
Nah.
Yeah, no.
All right. Let's use some habanero to wash that out.
Well,
Praying for some scorched taste
Speaking
buds.
if we're gonna go hydration, I'm just
Yeah, there
So
you go.
so as you're sitting there working on yet another white monster,
yeah.
what's your hydration strategy normally?
I mean, usually I'll have 2 of these in the morning, and then I basically just pound water all day long.
Just water?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a hot day, or if I've been doing a lot of like moving equipment around and all that, then I'll have a couple of Gatorades or something like that. But typically, it's just that and water.
A lot of eating through the day.
What's
I
that?
was wondering about the electrolyte half of it because it's not. I mean, it's not just a flavor water. If we were doing that, we'd
Right.
Or we were talking about Crystal Light or
Yeah.
something. It's the we'll devolve into an idiocracy thing here in a minute. It's the electrolytes.
Yeah.
That we're really after.
Right. It's got electrolytes.
So pertinent to the conversation.
Got electrolytes.
But no, I mean, my food's pretty heavily salted, and I'm eating at least twice during the day. So
there's a good bit of salt.
Yeah.
What about you? Because I know you work in nice air
So-
conditioned all the time. You're never outside or anything.
So I have a tendency to oversalt as well. If I get too much into electrolytes, like when I'm offshore, they have the little electrolyte drinks that taste way better. But I will have a tendency to actually hold water that I've noticed and learned the hard way. When I'm competing, when I go into competition, I use liquid IV. I use a lot of liquid IV. I have a Nalgene 2-liter bottle, and I'll mix that up with liquid IV and hit that. I will throw some BCAAs in there as well, just because supposedly, BCAAs get a bad rap on it. But there's a lot of studies that actually say that multiple intense bouts over time, BCAAs are beneficial to supporting that. If you can't do the whole food and any kind of food that's really protein rich, while you're competing, most of it you don't want anything to do with. So
I also know for a fact that if he's competing at Alabama Strongest, after the deadlift, he'll go for some fried pickles.
that was a mistake.
I don't know if it was the pickles or if it was the extra side of ranch that went with the pickles.
I'm not sure what it was. It was a mistake. That's all I can say it was. But so liquid IV. I wouldn't be opposed to a different electrolyte drink, but an electrolyte rich drink with BCAAs added in as well. That's typically my fallback. I am wanting to go back because what's the supplement company that's affiliated with T Nation? Biotest, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, they have a drink that's plasma, which actually has a fancy cyclic maltodextrin or cyclic dextrin or something like that that I've used in the past. I'm interested to give it a try again because it's a big ask because I think it was like $70 for a month's worth.
Really?
But when you break that down, if you compare that to drinking Monsters every day before you go train or whatever, the cost really isn't that big of a difference. What I do remember about it, though, is I could drink 2 liters of water in an hour and a half and feel no bloat. And I can't remember if that has an electrolyte supplementation in it as well. But I am kind of curious to go back and give that a try again. Just because I just remember being able to just down. And I compared it to Gatorade as a base because, Gatorade's not just the electrolytes, it's also the sugar for supporting it.
Yeah.
And with the Gatorade, I would get bloat. Whereas, to try to drink that much water, to try to drink 2 liters of water while training, I would typically get fairly bloated. But the, what is it called? I can't remember. Plasma, I don't remember having any issue with bloat at all. So I'm, after the holidays pass and we've bought all the kids' Christmas stuff and all that, I do want to order a bag of that and give that a run again and see what I think of that. Because I just remember it being favorable. It was just kind of a pain in the ass because you had to order it and it wasn't like, next day there like ease with Amazon. It was more old school. You order it and then a week later you get a package or something like that.
It's like the rest of reality.
Yeah.
I'm lazy. I gotta go. I actually have mine here, but I'm gonna drive across town to pick mine up. And this is a little different than what I was drinking for the longest time. So I'll just set it on the table. And again, if Costco would love to sponsor, I would love that.
Yeah, Costco sponsorship would be
I
sweet.
spend a lot of my money at Costco.
Me too.
But what I found,
Actually, I spend a lot of your money at Costco because you pay me for gym equipment, and I use that money for massive amounts of ground beef and everything else.
so the thing about coconut water, and this is no sugar added.
Yeah.
So the one that I drank for the first couple of years or the last couple of years was the blue one, and there's sugar in it.
Yeah.
And it tastes good if it's cold.
Yeah.
As soon as they're not cold, coconut water has been described, and I completely agree, as being very similar to water that's already been in somebody else's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the most accurate description. But if you look at it, the amount of potassium in there per serving is 470 milligrams, and there's 4 servings in here.
Right.
Well, now we're starting to creep up on some of the numbers that a lot of the experts are recommending that you get per day. So if you mix that in with the Greek yogurt and, pardon me, the Greek yogurt, the orange juice, the other stuff that I eat, I'm hitting the 4,700 that a lot of folks are recommending a day. And then I started using thermotabs because I'm not wild about drinking salt. So they are buffered. The nice thing about being buffered is they're not going to upset your stomach like a handful of sea salt, which works in a pinch if you're getting all cramped up and stuff.
But do they come in chocolate flavor?
It does not come in chocolate. If I was going to use chocolate for electrolytes, it'd be like a chocolate salted caramel
gelato or something like that.
I was going to say little bonbon things.
But,
yeah.
But yeah, in training is coconut water after coconut water.
Yeah.
And the thermotabs. And then what you were talking about, like Gatorade with the sugar and comp day and stuff. I make it all the way through, whether it's Highland Games or Strongman comps, with coconut water and thermotabs, of course, and gummy bears.
Yeah.
There's always, and I keep them, there's some sitting up on the shelf over there. They're all over the place. The little single serving bags.
Yeah.
So just munch on those through the day. What I did find, because normally I eat so much throughout the day, I say sitting here as the smallest guy at the table, but it's entirely possible I eat more than both of you.
It is.
Mm-hmm. I like the outright bars.
The which ones?
Outright bars.
those are good.
I've given him a couple.
Yeah.
I don't think I've tried them.
So they come from MTS. I think it's MTS is the parent. It's
Okay.
Mark Lobliner.
Okay.
Has a bunch of different brands, but the outright bars, they look like food. They taste like food. There's a lot of, they're not low fat. So there's a good amount of fat, which really doesn't matter too much to me. But the protein and the carbs in them, 2 or 3 of those through the day, and I hit the last event, the last whatever of the day, feeling like I just walked on the field.
Yeah.
Between
Nice.
the rest of the stuff and those, they're really compact. So they're almost MRE-like in that sense. But they sit real easy in the stomach.
Nice.
You eat them, and they're there. You don't feel them like if you were going to go have fried pickles and ranch or something.
Some of us make questionable life choices.
Well, I mean, comp day, whether it's, anything, powerlifting, strongman, Highland Games. For me, it's, of course, monsters, water. But then I have the gummy bears or some kind of, gummy candy.
Yeah.
But, dude,
It's got to be the bears, though, man. They're just so far.
yeah.
No, I guess Sour Patch Kids.
See, Roxy loves the Sour Patch Kids.
See, what I like about them is they make me drink more.
Yeah.
Because if I don't have, that's one of the other reasons why I like the BCAAs is the liquid ones is if you get one that's like a sour taste, I will end up drinking more fluid because I have to force water. I don't naturally just want to drink it. So if I can get something that's sour, I'll just drink more.
Oh, it's like putting peanuts and pretzels on the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gummy bears or Sour Patch Kids, and then Uncrustables.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
They're perfect amount of sugar, a little bit of saltiness, and then I might have like trail mix or something that's in my games box or whatever that I'll eat if I need something a little bit more salt.
The chocolate one's coming back on me.
It looked like Montezuma's revenge going in. So
I gotta say, man. I mean, I know we've been sitting here joking about this. I know we were joking about being disappointed that they were all basically clear, but I mean, look, if you look at the colors, doesn't it look like they're just going to be such fun colors?
it does. They look radiant.
They were just all meh and then terrifying.
They look like they look like you want to drink them. That's
So But that gets into the whole, like, are you purist or are you marketing? Because, you can, from a purist point of view, okay, well, we're not putting artificial colors in there. We don't want to put in anything that's not necessary. But
like, did you have to? Like, I think the brown wouldn't be so off-putting if the other ones were,
Yes.
the color that you associate with.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
definitely
if there
agree.
was a rainbow sitting in front of us right now with all these bottles and you saw all kinds of different colors, then the brown wouldn't be so
Instead
disturbing.
it just looks like bottles of sweat and a stool sample.
Yeah. Just need to thicken it up a little.
Okay. I can't look at that.
It's a little rough there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pretend like none of that ever happened.
But
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
drink these.
the timing of all this stuff was really interesting. I was dealing with some dehydration issues the other day that I didn't even realize. Right. So again, I think at the beginning we all decided that none of us were doctors. It's all
Right.
for entertainment purposes, and anything that we're talking about is just relayed experiences. It's not anything more than that. But I was dealing with, and this will come up in other ones down the road, I'm sure. I just had some really weird symptoms, just some really weird stuff going on. I felt off. It was like, do I go see the doctor? Do I not go see the doctor? And in talking to somebody, it hit me that I'd been really dehydrated for a week because of stuff that I'd been doing, not trying to drink as much. I wasn't training at the time. I'm a little layoff there. And as soon as I started, I intentionally went over. Now, I'll only drink about one of the coconut waters a day.
Yeah.
You drink more than one of the coconut waters a day. Potassium has some other interactions and things can happen. But but I had one of those and I started drinking a lot more iced tea and just a lot more water and everything.
Yeah.
And within about a day, everything went away. Everything felt better. That was bothering me at the time. Now, if it hadn't, I probably would have gone and found a doctor about something. But every single symptom that I had could all tie back to dehydration.
Yeah.
In all of the reading about this different stuff. Because as soon as something happens, I want to know as much as I can about it.
Right.
I don't really trust doctors for the most part. All right. They're really highly educated. At a certain point in time, once upon a time, long ago, when they pass their tests, some of them stay with things, some of them keep up. But look at how many things change in the last handful of years.
Well,
so I want to know what I'm talking about
Yeah.
if I have to go talk to the doctor.
Yeah.
Right?
and it's on you to be your advocate with the doctor.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that'll tie back to the next part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But in this one, I came across, I've got a smartwatch here. I've got a chest strap that when I'm wearing, doing cardio, we log our stuff on our phones constantly. It's got to be something. I swear I saw something about hydration. So I started looking. There's a couple of products out there, and one of them, as great as the tech looked, they priced themselves out of consideration because it was a single-use thing. It was $25 a pop. I'm not paying $25 a workout. Right?
Is the test strip one?
No, it was actually, it looks like one of the little Dexcom type things where it sticks to the back of your arm. But those little patches there for one use, for one workout. And I messaged him. I was like, hey, do these things stay on there for a week or what's the deal? And he's like, no, you put a new one on for every workout. It's like, well, it's $25 for a 4-pack. So not $25 a workout. It's $25 for a 4-pack plus shipping. The little sensor unit lasts.
Yeah.
$25 a workout. Or
$6.25 a workout, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's more than a lot of gym memberships.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
granted, we're sitting in my gym, so I don't have a gym membership. That's still a lot. I found another one, which I do want to do a review on or a separate video on. It's called H-Drop. So it's HDropTech.com, I think, is the website. And you saw it the other day.
Yeah.
It's a little white one.
What? Yeah.
So it straps on just the same as the little polar optical sensor I wear on my other arm. And it's really cool because it talks about in the analysis of it how much salt you lost, how much potassium you've lost, how much fluid you've lost. Now the fluid part is an estimate because it's basing on your sweat rate at that spot. And I'm emailing back and forth with them because some of it didn't seem right to me at the beginning. It seemed way too high.
Yeah, I remember us discussing it.
Well, it's part of the other video that we're going to record, but it actually starts looking a little bit more reasonable, a little bit closer to where it should be. But the interesting part about this is the way that it works is based off of the electrolytes in your sweat.
Mm-hmm.
So it can determine the rate that you're losing it. Well, if it's the rate that you're losing it, when we're talking about just drinking water all day, well, that doesn't necessarily get us back to hydration.
Right.
Because there's the fluid part, but there's also the electrolytes part.
Yeah.
Again, got electrolytes. That's what plants crave. It's what people crave too. So that's why I was really interested to see this. And again, they didn't send us this. This came free from, I think it was a membership that I got to a macro tracking app that I was testing out. So I paid for that and it said, hey, we'll send this to you for signing up for that.
See, I mean, I think one of the things I do like about this is it differentiates. It's not just it's one of my main bitches about the supplement industry is they could have just put electrolyte blend,
Right.
1,200 milligrams or 1,260 milligrams, sodium, potassium, magnesium. They're actually fairly transparent that, okay, in this you get 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams. Now, I don't remember the numbers right off on what typical sweat composition is, but it is by and large sodium. I do remember that with a minor contingent of potassium and some magnesium. So, it is nice on this that it does do that. It would be interesting to actually see tracking on, electrostatic or not electrostatic, the potential across your sweat to actually track the electrolytes.
Yep.
But even that, I'm curious because it's a multivariate function. When you go in there, you've got 3 different variables in there, plus a concentration. So how many different combinations can you get to the same electric potential that you're actually measuring?
Well, and there's differences in how they do it, and I'll maybe I'll grab a screenshot of this and throw it up on there real quick. But this is actually from yesterday.
All right.
So there's the output of the reading from the sensor for yesterday's workout.
Yeah. So you're putting out an order of magnitude more sodium than potassium.
Yep.
Based on this.
Yep. Now the interesting one that I'll be honest, I didn't even notice the magnesium on here to begin with. So it's the other day, yeah.
Yep.
I didn't even notice the magnesium on there. I actually take a ZMA supplement every morning, and the reason I was taking that didn't even occur to me on the electrolyte side. So I was taking that from the ligament and tendon health.
Yeah.
So I started supplementing the ZMA pill after an injury, and I just stuck with it. So it seems to help facilitate the repair of connective tissue.
Did you notice your sleep quality increase taking ZMA? Because I know that's something that comes up in some of the sleep discussions, if I remember right, was the ZMA.
It does. It's recommended that you take it before bed.
Yeah.
The problem with that, so a lot of the vitamins out there, and this is one of the gripes that I've got with not just the supplement industry, but the vitamin industry and whatever you want to call the whole overall.
Yeah.
They put these multivitamins together and they throw a bunch of stuff in a pill with half of it you shouldn't take with the other half, right? So the ZMA, zinc, and I learned about zinc from when I was a welder in the Navy, which technically we weren't encouraged to, but at the same time we were encouraged. We all smoked, except one dude. So they'd send us out to go smoke like regularly. Like we got more smoke breaks than anybody else in the Navy.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting there smoking a cigarette, and I don't know if you guys, I think you know this, but I don't know if you knew this. If you're sitting there smoking a cigarette and it starts tasting like it was dipped in sugar,
Mm-hmm.
you got too much zinc exposure. So then they send you over the galley and you sit there and chug milk. Well, why would you chug milk? Because the calcium would strip the zinc from you.
Right.
So the one guy that didn't smoke, poor kid, used to make him puff on a cigarette. So you don't have to breathe it in, but at least puff on it, because this way we can tell.
Right.
And I'd actually experienced this years before when I was working in a junkyard. We were cutting down a bunch of light poles to make fencing.
Yeah.
Running a cutting torch on galvanized pipe.
Yep.
Didn't know about this. I threw a whole carton of cigarettes out because I thought they were contaminated. I just kept going through pack after pack. Like, what the hell is with this? So the big problem, and this is a whole other discussion, literally right before bed, like I will put the bowl down, stand up and walk and go to bed. I will finish out my night with Greek yogurt. About 300 grams of Greek yogurt with some fruit and some other stuff in there. That casein, that slow digesting protein, I want that
great stuff
right before I go to bed, so that it's carrying me through my nice 8 hours of CPAP assisted sleep for optimal recovery. Well, ZMA pill, if you take it before bed, will help your sleep, but you can't take it within an hour or 2 hours on either side of having anything with calcium in it, or food, really, because the magnesium can be affected too. So I take mine first thing in the morning because you can take it with black coffee.
Right.
The first hour of my life every day exists with nothing but cup after cup of black coffee.
And hatred.
It creeps in.
Yeah.
It creeps in. The more the coffee warms it up good. Now, my wife, I sent her a video the other day about magnesium. And she'd been dealing with restless leg syndrome for a long time, and just legs cramping up and her feet bothering her at work and everything. She's on her feet all day.
Yeah.
Works at a florist, so she's standing, walking, and everything else. So I had her start trying it, and she took it at night, and it messed with her dreams.
Oh, no kidding.
The interesting part was she was better rested in the morning, so she was actually finally getting to that deep sleep part.
Right.
Where she wasn't getting to deep sleep as easily or as much. That's where the dreams are coming in.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it had some carryover to the next day. Sort of like when they give you the sleeping pills and stuff, and they say, well, the next day you may be. So she was off the next day after she was doing that for a few days. So she started taking it in the morning. Same benefits. Her legs are great. It's not messing with her sleep anymore.
Yeah.
So she's happy, taking them. I got to buy twice as many of them, but
small price to pay.
It's something that's bothered her for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you look at the commercials. What's all the fun side effects on the prescription commercials?
You become Roseanne.
I love where they get to the end of them, and then they start like creeping up in severity. They get this pill for restless leg syndrome. Great, it could cause death. All right.
Well, I mean, your legs won't be shaking anymore.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. So where's this? But then, as they're creeping up in severity, and they say, may cause stroke, heart attack, or death, and then after that is always anal leakage.
Yeah.
Because that's worse
this
than
is
death.
worse than death.
I mean,
I'd rather drive with a die ass than I'd rather die with a
Drive
dry
with a dry
ass. I'd rather die with a dry ass than have mud butt.
well, there's our first T-shirt for the podcast.
So, it's
The mud butt. Damn mud butt. It was highbrow.
This was an
It was
intelligent
highbrow.
conversation.
I would have put money on Bam going to mud butt first, but
No, I was just going to say that I would rather die than, like just sneeze and shit my pants in the middle of Costco. But yeah. I've come close a few times.
after the first time, it's
Yeah, right.
you know what to do. You're drilled.
So I really think how fascinating it is that an over-the-counter supplement fixes this problem that they've got all these.
Yeah.
But here's the fun part. I was talking about not liking doctors or trusting doctors before. How many doctors are going to say, well, hey, have you tried a ZMA pill?
I know.
Right.
No, they're going to whip out the prescription pad so that
Yeah.
they can get their little cutback or
See,
kickback.
that's the one doctor I go to, the neurologist. That's one thing that she's really big on, because she's a DO, she's not an MD, so she's like, what can we do supplement wise where we don't have to go the prescription route and have to deal with all the crazy side effects, when we can just if you're deficient here, we just take this one thing.
Well, and that's
we're
the
not
thing.
talking about your doctor.
No.
Our doctor.
Well, no,
Our
I
doctor.
quit that
Our
doctor.
doctor.
I quit that doctor. I have a new doctor.
I might be going to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known him for years. So.
But I mean, like, here's the thing that pisses me off about it is they don't explore, vitamin deficiencies and things like that prior to getting into it. I mean, kickback, no kickback, whatever. It is what it is. It's a very small minority of doctors that actually look at holistically. Okay, tell me about your diet. Let's actually run a comprehensive blood test on you, blood panels on you, and let's look at your nutrition. Let's look at what your numbers actually say. That it just, the first thing, like, even when you look at TRT as a topic, it's like, well, how much have you actually tried to manipulate your diet prior to jumping into that?
Yeah.
How much, because I have a long abiding theory based on a wild ass guess that a lot of the issues with low testosterone that you see are because of lack of exposure to the sun and your body's ability to synthesize vitamin D, which is critical in testosterone function
Well,
and manufacture.
So the sun exposure, is that on any specific body part? I mean,
No,
is it-
no, it's just being out in the sun. You do not have to sun your balls, but you know,
I enjoy that. So you're saying it's unnecessary?
I look. You do you, baby. I'm not coming in your backyard without knocking first.
That sounded like a lot
I'm
worse.
not. As soon as I said, I was like,
oh god,
oh,
yeah.
So,
but to your point though, like I think that's why we've seen over. Jesus Christ, tripped it.
that's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
But they talk about over the past 50 years the decline in natural testosterone levels in men, and I think it's because obviously less physical activity, less exposure to the sun. The diet of the average American male has changed so much to where everything is processed and synthesized and all this kind of bullshit. You're not getting real food,
Right.
You're not getting real exposure. Like you said, vitamin D. You're not getting the physical activity that you're supposed to because most people are in an air-conditioned, fluorescent lit office building,
Right.
where you're just there.
And then let's talk about the microplastics of xenoestrogens, which also mask different things. I mean, it's such a multifactorial issue when you really begin to look at all the things that can change things and how the standard of living in first world post-industrialized countries has changed in the last 70 years.
Yeah.
I mean, people didn't just have Tupperware. People didn't just have plastic bags to put everything in. Used to be you wrapped your sandwich in foil because everybody had foil.
Christmas
Wax
presents.
paper.
Yeah, wax paper was another one. And I mean, imagine if just everybody started taking their food in wax paper and glass containers and things like that, how much you'd eliminate some of that exposure to plastics and things like that, which we all know is, are linked as xenoestrogens, and the plastics actually being consumed mess with your endocrine system.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, yeah, let's look holistically at an entire lifestyle. Let's not just, jump into the easy thing, which is prescribing a pill.
Right.
And I'm not throwing any shade at all on medicine because I 100% believe that there are instances when medical intervention via prescription is 100% necessary, 100% justified, but it is symptomatic of who we are as a people that we'd rather take a pill
Then do the work.
than do the work to actually fix what's wrong with us.
It's instant gratification, basically.
I do want to pick up on that. And actually, I wanted to talk a little bit about where the HRT stuff came in and comes in with maybe all of our experiences. But we need to pause for just a second.
All right.
Because I think the camera died.
Uh-oh.
One of them. So let's just pause for a second.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Back on task.
back on task. So we were starting to talk about the lovely doctors that would write prescriptions instead of trying to figure out what was wrong, and this ties in with hormone replacement therapy.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of discussion out there on it. And again, just in case anybody missed before, none of us are doctors. This is for
Not at all.
entertainment purposes and sharing our own pain and misery and experience, and I'm not saying you might not learn something from it, but
Yeah, maybe what not to do.
I
I
prefer
say,
to-
if anything, I'm a human warning label.
pain is a great teacher, and I've learned a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
I'd rather learn from somebody else's pain than my own.
Yeah. What is it? Knowledge is learning from your mistakes. Wisdom is learning from other people's mistakes.
Well, you guys have the wisdom of not putting a pitchfork in the front seat of your truck.
There's that too. Mine's got a cover on it.
Look at that.
Yeah, that would have been ideal.
Still have an ear.
I still had an ear.
But if you think about it, you and I both have more than the average number of ears.
In this group, yeah.
We do, because it's not two. It's one and a fraction.
You set that one
I'm
up.
doing my civic duty of just bringing the level down.
You set that one up, though.
What's the quote from Mark Twain? There's lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So HRT, yeah.
So HRT was interestingly, with all the videos out there and everybody talking about it, and we can get into more specifics on some of the other videos out there that we're talking about, but there's a lot of I guess misperception about it, and a lot of people talk bad on it.
Yeah.
Confuse it with steroid use and other PEDs and stuff. But interestingly, I got to it 3 years before I started in the gym. So quick backstory was, I was injured in the Navy back in the 90s. And, basically doctor told me, don't lift more than 15 pounds, get used to sitting on the couch, go find yourself a job in air conditioner. And so, I did that. I followed that. Didn't do wonderful at it. Always felt like crap. Changed doctors. Was advised by a friend, hey, go see this guy. He's cool as hell. Great guy. Walks around in jeans and T-shirts and sneakers all the time. He's, real down-to-earth guy. Go see him. He'll figure out what's up. So I go in. I actually didn't wind up seeing him. I wound up seeing a PA who, I guess because I never want to get into politics on this channel at all.
Right.
I want to stay out of religion and politics specifically, and probably most sports because I'm not wild about sports. But as apolitical a comment as I can make, there are certain former presidents that would be jealous of the level of spray tan that this lady achieved. Like Chester Cheetah would have been like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
I need your guy's number. So I went in and saw her. And the first thing was, how are you sleeping? How's your energy level? How do you feel in the afternoon? How do you this? How do you that? How's your sex life and everything else? All the way through the whole list. Me not knowing what I was sitting there talking to, turns out it was, for better or worse, it was a what do you want to call it?
A funnel.
Aging clinic or
Anti-aging.
wellness clinic, anti-aging, etc. Which I didn't connect it at first.
Right.
I'm completely naive to the whole thing. So I go through, I'm answering all the questions. Said, okay, well, let's run your labs. Because I went in for a physical. I haven't had a physical in 5-10 years, whatever.
Right.
Because I didn't like my last doctor, so I barely go. So they run all the labs. Labs come back. I go in for my follow-up. And we're sitting there, and she's going through all this stuff, and she's reading off, and explaining this and explaining that. This was really before I got into my own advocacy, my own care, and really trying to understand everything. So I'm listening to her explain it. It's like, oh, shit, that makes sense. Oh, okay. Whoa. Yeah, chocolate stuff. It's not sitting nice, man. That's the only one that I'm tasting.
Yeah.
So anyway, she goes through the whole list and she says, oh, well, your testosterone's low. Has anybody ever told you this before? I said, no. What does that mean? What does that do? I know testosterone existed,
Right.
but no, I have no idea. Well, what do I do? She goes, oh, well, here, we'll do this. We'll put you on this regimen and, and we'll come back and we'll test you in a few months and everything will be good. I was like, I really don't like meds. Now, the other side of this is after I was injured, the Navy put me on really high doses of narcotic painkillers and muscle relaxers. I took so many of them. There was never an addiction issue because I tapered myself. I didn't like the way I felt on them, so I'd take them for like breakthrough pain every once in a while.
Right,
Like if I
right.
couldn't sleep because the pain was so bad. But I stopped taking them completely because I don't like medications. I got to a point where I was having secondary effects. I was having side effects from these meds for taking them for so long. I just stopped taking everything. I didn't even take Tylenol.
Right.
So I was like, all right, well, I'll try this because you really think it's going to make a difference, but what if I don't like it? She's like, oh, well, you can stop. I said, oh, okay. So we'll do this testosterone stuff. And then if I don't like it, I just stop. No problems? No problems at all. Bullshit number one.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, there's a little window. There's a short window after you start where your stuff may come back. But the problem is after a certain period of time, your body shuts down its own production. It's not a long period of time. Doesn't always start it back up either. So started me on that. Pardon the rain. Started me up on that. And within a couple of weeks, I felt awesome.
Right.
I felt great. It was wonderful. This was actually 3 years before I started going back to the gym. Now, the part that I have the issue with, and the part that's the real problem here, is in this whole thing, there was never a conversation of, well, how are you sleeping? Maybe we should have you go to a sleep study. Maybe you have sleep apnea.
Right.
There was never a conversation of, what does your diet look like? There was never a conversation of, how much do you smoke? There was never a conversation of, how much do you drink? Nobody asked me what my exercise regimen looked like.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. So I'm right at about 40 years old at this point. I was smoking about 2 packs of cigarettes a day, right? Regularly. Camels, unfiltered or bugler most of the time. I was eating fast food 5-6 nights a week. And I'm not talking about like Subway, because, Subway's healthy and shit. I'm talking like McDonald's, Burger King.
Right.
Really
right,
like
right.
Wendy's.
Yeah.
The greasiest, fattiest thing I could possibly eat. I was living on Doritos and Cheetos for, get me through the day. Barely slept 2-3 hours a night. And I'd stopped drinking at this point, but I had a pretty good stretch where I was $400 or $500 a week at the bar tabs, and living on bar food the whole time I was there. So I trashed myself from that.
Yeah.
Exercise, maybe every other week I'd go cut the grass if I couldn't talk somebody else into doing it.
Yeah.
And that was the extent of exercise. Now, my test came back at 310. Not really low. It's really low for somebody in their 40s, but it's not like your shit's broken.
Right. Right.
It's low enough where there's an issue, and HRT would help. But at the same time, hey, dude, if you quit smoking and you quit drinking, because I was still drinking, just not as much, and you straighten out your diet a little bit and maybe walk your ass around the block,
You'll feel 100 times better already.
maybe your numbers would come back up.
Yeah.
Now, maybe they only would have come back up to 600, 700, 500. Who knows? But
Maybe 350 even.
that would have been improvement.
Yeah.
So by the time I learned enough about that, I was already, the ship had sailed. I'm done. I'm committed. This is on it.
Right.
I found another doctor. I've tried 3 times to come back off and get my own production restarted. I'm done at this point.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. I'm upset about it. I've gotten over it to a point. I do on all the Facebook groups that I'm in. As soon as somebody starts talking about it, it's like, oh, is all your other shit in line? I'm not a doctor, but is all your other shit in line? Have you
Right.
considered this? Now, test boosters, man, they're not going to do shit.
No.
You're going to get this little pill off the shelf. There's one of them that I do know some doctors and some really smart people have tested, have tried,
Yeah.
does help some, but it's not the same as TRT
No.
by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's not. I mean, Huberman talks about 1 or 2 supplements that he actually uses to naturally boost, but it's still nothing's going to compare with loading up a needle and putting 100, 200 milligrams, whatever it is, in your body every week, exogenous testosterone. Now, I think that's one side of the equation, which is informed consent. I am 100% informed consent 100% of the time. You need to understand. I even tell people all the time when they start talking about, hey, I was thinking about getting on HRT. Okay, understand this. This is not a decision to be taken lightly. This is a decision with potential lifetime ramifications. Some people will never be able to have children after starting because there is, it's different from person to person. It depends on a lot of other variables. But some people will not be able to restart. Some people can. Some people you may have to live on this the rest of your life. You may have to never, once you make this commitment, you need to weigh it as though you're willing to make this commitment for the rest of your life. See, now when I went to TRT, I was about the same age, but it was from a performance enhancing aspect. It was, okay, I have ground away. I'm not going to say everything was on point, but I had changed a lot of things. I had gotten a lot of my lifestyle in order, been going to the gym for a while. And it was, okay, I'm ready to take this step. Let's start intelligently and let's see how I react to this at a low dosage. So, but my first script was 250 milligrams a week, which I would argue is not, I don't know.
It's probably not a low dosage. So
it is not a low,
Yeah.
but I am not a small man. So
I hadn't noticed, Justin. I really
So-
never seen that.
And that's the other side of this is I think you do have to have this conversation in two distinct houses. I think you have to have a conversation on medical hormone replacement therapy versus PED usage. I think
Yeah, and on that, let's come back to that in a minute. But,
Yeah.
But the interesting part is the medical part.
yeah.
So when I was doing what I was talking about, that was, I think it was 2015,
Yeah.
right? Now, I mentioned I basically sat on the couch and did nothing.
Right.
I didn't go to the gym again until I think April 1st, because I remember posting about this. I was like, everybody that knows me, they're going to think this is April Fool's joke, right? Because I was the guy that would sit there and tell you, you were given a certain amount of heartbeats in your life. Don't burn them doing stupid crap at the gym.
Yeah.
Go as slow as you can, make it as far as you can. That was
Yeah.
always my thing. So April 1st was actually right across the street. Come to find out, he was there shortly before. I signed up. I got a gym membership. I started going. Now I'd already been 3 years on HRT.
Right.
So I hit the gym and I started seeing results and stuff. It was
Yeah.
all newbie gains. It
Oh,
was stuff
yeah.
that had never come back. Meanwhile, I got everybody that I know, dude, you on steroids? No,
Right.
I'm not. I'm on HRT.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, and this is where we'll tie back in, but my numbers are always in, what's a normal range.
Right.
Maybe for somebody a few years younger than me.
Right.
So my numbers, they come up 7, 8, somewhere in that range. Maybe they drift a little to 9, depending on when I get a blood test. But
Yeah.
I was doing that. There's a whole other day and a whole other discussion we'll probably have before long on one of these. But, my anxiety subsided to some degree.
Yeah.
Not as much as since the doctor put me on some meds for it, but
Right.
my anxiety subsided a little bit.
Yeah.
My mood was elevated. I wasn't as stressed and depressed anymore. I was sleeping a little bit better. I did start losing some weight, but it was a medical thing. It had nothing to do with the gym. Right?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to the gym.
Yeah.
I was still eating like shit. I was still not exercising and everything else, and I
Right.
started feeling better.
Yeah.
And I think that's
So-
one of the things that gets overlooked with this is people, they flatten out the discussion when they're talking against them,
Yeah.
and they act like TRT is the same thing as PED usage. And no, it's not, because your quality of life, the quality of life of actually, having some, was it joie de vie or whatever, zest for life of,
Right.
Anxiety and depression. It's been shown to lessen that. And plus, low testosterone has been correlated with a host of medical conditions down the way. Now, it's not to say that it causes them, but it is to say that, Alzheimer's, if I remember right, has been associated with low testosterone. There are certain coronary conditions. I think it's coronary thrombosis, I think, has been associated with low testosterone. And a lot of they're correlated positively. So when you talk about the therapeutic range, not going super physiological, but when you're talking about therapeutic range, you are talking about real medical benefits, weight loss. I mean, to actually just have your body start to burn fat the way that it did when you were in your late teens and early 20s, so that you don't walk around carrying as much body fat. Yeah, I'm sorry, your moral superiority of staying natty for life because you don't want to sit there and say, well, I took steroids because I'm on HRT. Well, congratulations, motherfucker. You're missing out on a lot of the good benefits that would actually come potentially through an HRT dosage.
Yep.
Not talking PED, just HRT dosage. And that's what pisses me off is people treat this as a moral issue, and it is not a moral issue. It is a compassion issue. This is actually medicine that is available to you to help improve your life. Fuck off if you have an issue with that.
And that's like, think about when TRT, HRT, and all that first started becoming more popular, this is around the same time as all the baseball scandal and all that. So you're watching Good Morning America, and they're talking about Barry Bonds. They're talking about, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire. They're talking about all this shit in baseball and Victor Conti and the investigations and this and steroids are evil and this, that, and the other. And then they transition over to the next story, which is about all the benefits of TRT and how, I'm doing this, hormone replacement. I feel amazing. I feel great. It's like, well, what you're doing is the medically advised prescription-based version that's, monitored and limited of what you're just damning 5 minutes ago.
Right.
It goes back to that whole moral, they
Right.
try to make it a moral thing when it's like, it's two sides of the same coin.
But most people have no clue
Right.
at all. They have no point of reference. I mean, I can remember when I was a kid, Lyle Alzado being on Arsenio Hall and saying that steroids gave him brain cancer.
Right.
And that is still in people's psyche, that steroids, him taking steroids led to him getting brain cancer. I'm sorry. I hate that he passed away. But let's not talk about the rest of the lifestyle that he led that was,
and the other
common.
The other things that he had wrong with him too. The other
Right.
sicknesses he had.
But, not even to begin discussing genetic predispositions and all that, to just jump to, okay, Lyle Alzado took steroids. Lyle Alzado got brain cancer. Therefore, steroids cause brain cancer. No, that is not how
Right.
this is done.
That's like me saying, I drove a Dodge truck. I have an enlarged heart. So driving a Dodge Ram will give you an enlarged heart.
Right.
It's correlation, not causation.
Yeah.
Well, a little bit because it does, boost everything. But to that point, and still not jumping to steroids at the point yet. But
Right.
what we see a lot, and what I keep hearing constantly is, oh, well, you're on TRT. I know what that is. The fuck do you mean you know what that is? That's no. So this whole time I'm in the gym, I've never once said, I'm natty, because I'm not.
Right.
You know what?
Right.
I passed up a handful of different times. I said, hey, why don't you come over and do this powerlifting meet? Well, first off, and not to offend the powerlifters, but I'll fall asleep in the middle of it. So probably not.
Well, that's because you haven't been to like a Raw Unity meet or a WPO or XPC or anything.
But at the same time, when we're talking about tested feds,
right.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not. Oh, well, a lot of people are doing it. It's just HR. Well, they're not going to give me a waiver.
Right.
So you know what? It may not be steroids. It may not be PEDs. But if they're not going to give me a waiver, it's tested. That's not ethical for me to say.
Right.
No.
I'm going to go compete in a tested fed because I'm not natty.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we were just talking about my bar tabs and diet a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've abused my body to a point where I probably will never get to a point where I'm going to say, okay, well, let's cross that line from TRT.
Right.
Yeah.
The risk reward ratio for me isn't high enough.
Yeah.
I know what I can do. I'm 45 years old. I'm on TRT. I've never said I wasn't anywhere, in any group or any discussion. My numbers are still climbing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My numbers climbed a good bit. I hired a coach. My numbers are still climbing. I put up 2 weeks in a row new PRs on lifts. From the PED discussion, there's no point to get to there where, okay, well, I've gassed out. I need to hit the NOS button because I've
Right.
exhausted everything I've got, which comes back to the, so you started kind of from that aspect.
Yeah. I started because it was, okay, I am not progressing. I've been grinding this out. I'm ready to take this step. But, and it's something that I talk about in all my videos where I discuss steroids, is I am the person that you wade into it. You don't just dive head in.
Unlike drinking your...
Yeah. I wade into it.
Yeah.
So it's, okay, well, I want to see how my body is going to react to just testosterone. That's what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I got prescribed 250 milligrams a week. Things started getting better. And that's where I stayed. That's where I stayed for a long, long time. And that's why, and this is the other side of it. Nobody's going around like, you need to get on gear. You got to step it up. You got to step it up. It's the decision you make yourself, like you said.
The guys on Instagram are, but
Well, fuck those guys. Sarms goblins.
But those guys on Instagram that talk all that shit, they know zero about what they're talking about at this point. It seems like, and, they talk about doing ridiculous cycles and this, that, and the other. But it's like, if you were really doing that, like,
no, I mean the hey, you got a new follow, and you follow back, and the guy drops in your DM and says, hey man, I got a hookup. I can get you for cheaper. It's like, wait. Do you think I'm already doing it? You're trying to give me a deal, or are you telling me I need to? Because
So either way, you're insulting my guy or you're insulting me.
Yeah.
I got a guy.
Oh.
What's the ceiling doing here? Let me get that. That's real nice.
But yeah, so I mean, I think that's one of the things is, this is choose your own adventure.
Oh, yeah.
This is and for a lot of people, yeah, I totally get it doesn't make any sense to go beyond HRT. I don't have any desire to go beyond HRT. I don't, I'm doing this. And, when I've talked to some people in the past who have talked about, getting on testosterone, the first thing I tell them is when you talk to your doctor, start off at a low dosage. Don't just jump in because all the side effects and everything else are dose dependent. So if you can get away with 125 mgs a week and feeling great, fuck it, stay at 125. Mm. The number's a number. You are a person and you're more than that number. So how do you feel at that?
Yeah.
The interesting point on that, and just to jump before we pop over to you, but I got a friend who I've never met the guy, but I've known him from Facebook for a long time.
Yeah.
We went to Facebook together.
He is the one. We've visited Facebook jail a few times, but he's the one guy that probably goes against the you can't out train a bad diet.
Yeah.
Because what I just talked about, the way I used to live, he still lives.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most jacked dudes I know.
Yeah.
Completely natty. 100% believe him. He competed regularly in tested feds.
Yeah.
Holds records. So I know he was getting tested. Holds records. Absolute beast.
Yeah.
Tees around, I think the last time he said something was in the twos.
Yeah.
Low twos.
Yeah.
Refuses to do, has tried some of the supplements that were okayed by the feds.
Right.
Federations, not
I
don't
those.
give a shit
Fuck
what the other
those
feds.
feds.
and if our agents are watching, just skip past this part.
Hi, Dad.
You knew it was coming.
But he's tried them. He's not found a whole lot of success with them. But I mean, he doesn't need a whole lot of success.
No.
He's got multiple records, not world, state records and regional records and stuff like that.
Right.
Multiple records, and that's doing great. But that's not everybody.
No.
So, well, you waded in looking at the performance side. I came into it when I was still sitting on my couch watching cartoons, because who doesn't love sitting on the couch watching cartoons? But gym hasn't even crossed my mind at this point.
Yeah.
Ironically, after getting on TRT and starting to feel better, I wound up quitting smoking. After I quit smoking, I started cleaning up my diet.
Right.
After I cleaned up my diet, I said, hey, let me go to the gym. So oddly enough, where you started at the gym and said, hey, I need to do this to progress to the next level.
Yeah.
I started there, and then the next level for me was the gym.
Yeah.
So from that aspect, all the benefits for later in life that we were talking about came because I started it, not necessarily because of it itself.
Right.
But subsequent to it.
Yeah.
And I love Doctor sat there and said, that training that you do for that strongman shit, man, that's really not good for you. That's really, that's not like when they say go exercise, and that's not what they're talking about, man. That stuff's horrible for you. I said, yeah, but look at how much better condition I'm in now.
Yeah.
Than 5 years ago.
Yep.
So in that sense, it is better. Well, where'd you come into it from?
All right.
This is going to be a good
Okay,
one.
so before I
we're
go
going
into
to make
this,
the marker here.
Yeah. Before I go into this, I'm going to reiterate that this is all for entertainment purposes only. Take everything I say with a grain of element.
But not the chocolate one.
So I started lifting weights when I was 14 years old. I, basically hit the gym at the same time I hit puberty. I was the short kid who was scrawny, got picked on, this, that, and the other. I'd never quite grown into the size of my head. So
Still
14 years old. Yeah, still haven't. At 14 years old, the summer before my freshman year, I started going to the gym. So I'm lifting weights for, years, all through high school and all that. And the guys that I always hung around with were like, the leftovers from the Arnold era. The old guys at the gym. They loved me because I was, that kid that was going in there head on fire, fuck it, let's see what we can do. But they always told me, you don't want to get on steroids for, about 10 years. That was always hammered into my head. You need to train for about 10 years before you even think about it.
You listened well, didn't you?
I actually
see where
kind
this
of
is
did.
going.
2008, so 8 years in, there was a documentary that came out called Bigger, Stronger, Faster.
Great movie.
Up until this point, everything that I knew about anabolics in any form was all gym bro stuff because, all the muscle magazines didn't talk about it, and there wasn't YouTube and all that shit back then.
No.
So it's just, you're hearing second and third hand from the guy who used to do it back in the 80s and this, that, and the other. So I don't know what's real and what's bullshit. I know that everything that, I'm reading in Muscle Fitness is pretty much horseshit. Ronnie Coleman got that big off of, Muscle Tech, creatine and protein.
100%.
Yeah. I spent, I don't know how much of my allowance as a kid on that shit and got nothing but gas. But after watching Bigger, Stronger, Faster, I was like, all right, I've got enough knowledge in my head that I'm going to go into this. I've made up my mind. I've made this moral decision that I'm going in, and I'm going in head first. I'm diving in.
Yeah.
My first ever cycle was I started 250 test and probably 200 EQ and 250 Tren E and 50 milligrams of D-ball a day at 22 years old. Yeah.
The murder formula.
It went great. And with my career at the time, which I'm not going to say, you guys know what I used to do.
This is why pitchforks bounce off of it.
So I had to go to a doctor to get a prescription for the stuff that I was taking because at the time, with the career that I was in, there was some scandals and stuff going on, and people were getting tested and this, that, and the other. So I needed to have my bases covered. That was the only reason I ever went to the doctor for it. So I happened to find a doctor that was 2 hours away from where I was living at the time. Drove to that doctor, got my blood tests and all that. And, it was funny, within 24 hours, I got lab results back that were supposed to take a week. And he looked at the paper and was like, I don't know how you're awake right now. Your test levels are so low. You need to be on this, 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 this. And he left the room. And I looked at the paperwork and I saw what my levels were and realized I love this man.
Was there a comma in the number?
Yeah. I was at about 1,300. But my levels were so low, he was amazed that I could walk. So I went down this rabbit hole.
In reality, he really needed a new glasses prescription, and he thought it was a decimal.
Yeah,
right.
1.3. Jeez.
So I went on this thing, I was into powerlifting and all that, but I wasn't really serious about it. My whole thing in the gym was I just want to be as big as I can be and as strong as I can be, and I want to be the biggest, scariest looking son of a bitch, walking around. That was it. That was my whole goal. And I mean, you guys both met me after the bicep rupture and all the, COVID shit and all that. Before February of 2020, when I blew up my biceps, I was kind of a monster. I was walking around, anywhere between 310 and 320 on a bad day. If I was eating like shit because I just didn't care, I just wanted to be big and strong. I'm like 19% body fat. So I'm a big, jacked guy. That's all I cared about. To the point to where there was a period where it didn't matter what it was. I'd try it.
Yeah.
If the guy that, I got my price list from was like, hey, I got this new blend of blah, 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 blah. You should try, I think this we might be onto something with this. Fucking, I'm your guinea pig. Send it to me. Like when SARMs first, kind of hit the scene and got popular, I was like, we'll see what this does. So, I mean, I didn't really see much of a difference taking, IGF-1 or taking any MK whatever ultra bullshit shit. But this was at a time when at this point I'm doing 1,000 milligrams of Test C a week.
Yeah.
I'm taking 150 milligrams of Tren Ace every other day. I'm taking Anadrol because, fuck it, I had it in my drawer. And I was doing this for a while.
Yeah.
If you do the research and all that on things like Trenbolone. This is the one that's so popular now and all the kids are talking about and this, that, and the other. Here's your warning. When you read that this is something that you should take for 12 weeks at the most, you should take it for 8 weeks. That's it. That being said, I'm taking, and this is at 100 milligrams every other day or 3 times a week. I'm taking 150 milligrams every other day. I didn't do it for 8 weeks. I didn't do it for 12 weeks. I did it for 2 years. Now, I was the strongest I had ever been. I was also the most aggressive I'd ever been in a lot of ways. If the wind blew the right way, I'm swinging a Louisville Slugger with no hands. But I'm also sweating anytime I get up out of the chair. I wake up every morning and I got to wash the sheets because my bed is saturated from me sweating. I'm out of breath tying my shoes. I'm out of breath eating. My stomach is trashed. I can't keep food down. I had ulcers in my esophagus. And the girl that I started dating at the tail end of this was a nurse. And she got really concerned one day when I came to her house from the gym. And most of me is dark red, but my eyes are yellow. And she's like, that's jaundice. That's not good. So instead of going to the doctor that I'd been going to, because again, I love this guy.
You need a doctor that's going to tell you a hard truth.
All right. I went to a doctor who worked at the hospital. And I was honest with him. I told him everything that I was taking. Told him what my lifestyle was. And he's like, all right, well, I know you already. One conversation to me. You're not going to stop. But your liver enzymes are so damn high, I'm really surprised you're not in renal failure as we speak. So you need to come off the train. Stay on the testosterone because that might be the only thing holding you together. But come off the train. Within 2 weeks, I did. Within 2 weeks, my levels are back to normal. My eyes were back to, a nice white color as opposed to looking like, the smiley face flag up there. But I also was feeling better again. And I was still strong. I was still big.
Yeah.
But I'd gotten into this mentality that I needed to be on all of this shit to be, this whatever, alpha primal, blah, 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 liver king, natty motherfucker that I was trying to be. So I came off. I'm still cycled back on a couple times, but was more responsible with it. Responsible. I don't know how responsible you can be on something like that. But, running shorter cycles, smaller doses, half of the normal dose, things like that. And I was able to maintain size and strength and all this up until I blew both my biceps off. And that was when I initially took a step back.
Yeah.
And it was just, all right, I'm just going to run testosterone. I'll run a little DECA here and there because of joints and all that. But at this point, I'm doing everything, talking to my doctor and telling him, this is what I'm taking. This is how much. Doing my blood work, every 3 months. Prior to that, I'd done blood work when the doctor made me do it to renew my prescription. And I never knew what the results were because I didn't give a shit.
Right.
I had to get to a point to where, hey, this is getting to a point of diminishing returns before I started caring. But then, I was really strict and, almost religious with it. And then I had my car accident this year. And I can say that this year was the first year since 2008 that I came off completely. Did, the post-psychotherapy cycle, all that kind of stuff. And to my surprise, I was able to bounce back.
Yeah.
Now, that's not normal. There are people that do one cycle for 12 weeks and they can't bounce back.
Yeah.
I can't explain how I've been on since 2008 and I'm still good.
Yeah.
But I'm at a point now to where now I'm getting more into the HRT, TRT kind of thing and trying to be better about it. Now, am I still taking other things? Yeah, a little bit.
I plead the fifth.
But at a much lower
scaled
level.
back.
Yeah, scaled way, way back.
And
I feel better now than I have in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Considering what the past 3 years looked like for me, you could hit me with a car and I'd probably feel better than I did back in January. But it's, it's really easy to dive into this all in when you're young and you're stupid. Or if you just, don't give a shit and be dumb about it and really screw yourself up. And I could have really screwed myself up. And I was borderline.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a walking warning light. Don't do what I did.
Yeah.
And if you do, know that this is what this looks like.
Yeah.
Well,
at this point, I know where I'm at. I know where I started at.
Yeah.
Was 18 where I'm about a 5-year training age right now.
Yeah.
Which is really fun to sit here and talk with you guys. I'm at a 5-year training age basically. So yeah, it's legit that I'm not on anything other than TRT.
Right.
But I'm still on my way up. My numbers are still climbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After I was discharged from the Navy, I wound up going overseas with my wife. She was still in the Navy, so I was over in Japan, and didn't listen to the doctors. Didn't like them telling me you can't do this, can't do that. So I started in the gym. Got my silver and black Arnold's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding. Followed the stuff out of there, and I started doing good. I started doing really good. What I can say is now I'm saying, yeah, I'm not going to do anything. I have no intention of it. I don't see a reason or anything else. Had I not been in such a restricted country when I started that,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
the way that my personality works and the way I dive into shit, you've seen how I dive into shit.
Yeah.
We're sitting in, hey, I decided I want to work out at home. I don't even want to talk about the price tag, but we're sitting in 1,000 square foot strongman facility, basically.
Yeah.
And it paid my mortgage for a few months.
50 feet from my back door because I dove into it this hard. But at 23, 24 years old, I might have put your story to shame.
Yeah, for sure.
I might have been, watch one of these and Marvel reboots or something.
And we're talking 2008 when I'm 22. Like, it was not like it is now. Like,
No.
it was much harder to.
Does that fuck with you at all?
What's that?
Well, I'm sitting here talking about back in the 90s when I was 23. And he's
Well,
2008 when I was 22.
Yeah. I know. I'm the baby. But
I was 20. I turned 21 in 2000.
It was so much harder to obtain things back. I'm like,
you should try and get anything off the base in Japan.
No,
it's not happening.
Like, it was seriously a guy that I worked with had a friend in Israel who we would send money to, and it would ship overseas to us. Yeah. Like that's how now it's hell. You get
Their
3
entire
invites into
Facebook
a
groups.
Facebook group where you hit the guy up on some encrypted chat thing, and he sends you a list, and it's so much easier now.
Well, but on the good side of things,
and cheaper.
the resources, and that's one of the reasons why I actually do the videos I do. The resources to actually learn about how to intelligently do it in an informed fashion, because get the moral side out of it. When you know what you're stepping into and you can actually make that decision and say, okay, I've talked to people. This is what I want to do as a first cycle. I want to see how my body reacts. Okay, I've gotten that cycle under. I want to repeat that cycle. I had good progress. And then you can progress and say, okay, I've run this cycle 3 times. The 3rd time I didn't get as good of results. What else can I add in? These are my goals. And you could, the amount of information that's out there and it's available is good. And the amount of people that are sharing, it's just trying to vet some of that information. So it's the opposite. Whereas, I can remember working at, I turned 11 in 1990, and I think my first gym membership wasn't too far after that. So, fuck you. But at that time,
he's the leftover from the Arnold days I was talking about.
Yeah, you don't even know. You don't even know. But at that time, talking to people that were bigger in the scene at that time, the knowledge was very tribal. It was very guarded. And you were almost vetted. And then the knowledge that was passed on was vetted because this was the collective knowledge of this tribe. The power lifters would work out at 5:30. That's when all the guys in the gym that powerlifted were there. And before they would even invite you to come train with them, they had to see that you were being serious and they had to do this. And then finally, after you got invited in and you started showing some serious progress, then you might actually have somebody offer something to you. Whereas now it's, you put on your Facebook or on your Instagram, hey, I'm going to the gym, and you got 3 offers in your inbox, hey, you want a price list? Hey, what kind of supplements are you taking? It's, no, thank you, ATF, FBI, whoever you are. But, so, I think we're in a better place in some respects, but I think it's an even worse place because you've got SARMs goblins. You've got, how many 16-year-olds only know Trenbolone?
Yeah.
They don't know Mastron. They don't know Deca. They don't know any of the Nandrolones. They don't know, Primo.
What scares me is the 16-year-olds that are taking Trenbolone.
Yeah.
And never mind the fact that, like, you're screwing up your endocrine system just as it's getting started, but you're taking literally the most toxic of any of the anabolics.
Injectable.
Yeah, injectable.
Yeah.
But the one that, is going to do
the
more.
one that was designed for an animal that's going to die within the next 3 months.
Yeah, that's what it's made for.
Yeah.
It's made for beef cattle.
Yeah. Feedlot conversion.
Right.
That's all it fucking
So here
is.
I am, in my 20s walking around as a human slaughterhouse, basically.
Right.
These kids just, and the information they're getting is from people that are just as dumb or dumber than them on social media. That are some kind of fitness influencer.
Right.
That, their most liked video is them quarter squatting for reps.
Right.
At a Planet Fitness on the Smith machine.
Yeah. They're getting their information from marketers instead of actual people that have walked that path. And that's, there are people that I genuinely have a tremendous amount of respect for that make content, put things out, who are very guarded about what they say about PED usage. And I understand why they are. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if they were to come out and open up and actually say, hey, I did this when I was only running, 400 milligrams of test or 500 milligrams of test a week or whatever it is, because I bet damn near a paycheck that the amount of anabolics that some of those guys were taking was not nearly what people think it was.
You look at Ronnie Coleman. Yeah. When he talked about what he was taking back when he did the 800-pound squat for 5 reps, just a little test, just a little Deca, maybe some D-ball, the basic stuff.
Yeah.
But a little bit. But also, it was $70 a bottle back then. So yeah.
Yeah.
But like now, that's why, rest in peace, but I appreciated Rich Piana.
Yes.
Rich Piana was, he was a human cartoon character. Yeah, he could be a little cringy, but he was always open and honest about everything that he did for the most part. He did discuss some of his other extracurriculars here and there, but as far as his anabolic usage, he was always honest.
Yeah. And he owned a supplement company, and he never said, if you take my supplements, you'll get this. It was, I got this way by using this shit.
Mm-hmm. And then you got Boston Lloyd.
Right.
Like, he was always very open.
Yeah.
Was he a little bit stupid with what he was doing?
Yes.
But he was honest about it.
Yeah.
And there was a point where he said, this is not going to equal longevity.
Yeah.
And he ended up being, a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah,
but
rest in peace.
Yeah, for sure. But the guys that get the most shit for talking about it are the ones that are being honest about it.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that, these kids and anyone who is thinking about doing the deep dive and not going the smart route through, actually getting your panels checked and making sure that, like, other things are in line and they're not doing it for the right reasons. Those are the guys that they really should be listening to.
I don't know. Have you seen Rich Piana's death cycle?
Oh, yeah.
It's scary.
But but you need to look at that and realize that is what that equals.
Right. And that's through the lens of somebody who has been on for that long and has been and is that advanced. And that's the thing, is people don't understand there's levels to this shit.
Yeah.
It's not just you walk in and, okay, everybody's equal here. No, the fuck you're not. There's a hierarchy here. And you need to understand, and it's not trying to be condescending, but it is, listen, There are side effects to these things, and you need to understand how you handle those side
Yeah,
effects.
how they're going to affect you, not
Right.
how they affect this guy, because
Right.
you're not the same.
Yeah.
Your genetics are completely different.
Yeah. So when you walk this line and you throw this trifecta at it, you want to do your first cycle. It's the classic, test deck and D-ball cycle, but you've never done one before. Okay. Well, I feel like shit. Well, have you ever taken tests before? No.
Have you ever talked to your doctor? Have you ever had your levels checked?
Have you taken tests with DECA before? Have you taken tests with D-ball before? Before you just throw this, which is a classic mass monster cycle
Mm-hmm.
and is effective, you need to have stepped up your game and actually worked within the parameters to understand these things and how they interact with you.
Yeah.
And not just sit there and I'm going to dive right in. I'm an advanced user. No, the fuck you're not.
So
I'm not an advanced user. I am one of the most cautious. You know what I do.
oh yeah.
I am one of the most cautious people in the world when it comes to this.
Yeah.
And I am one of the first people to jump the fuck off the train when things start going sideways because I know what I'm adding one thing in at a time, stepwise. I know what this does to me. When things start going bad, we back off.
So the entire point of me going into detail about the dumb stuff that I did is not to glorify it
No.
at all. I'm saying that what Tripp's doing, what
Yeah.
you're doing, that's the right way. Don't do what I did.
Yeah.
Don't do it recreationally like I did.
Yeah.
And people, it's not addictive. It's not habit form. I will say that's bullshit. I will tell you. Now, is testosterone addictive? No. Is Tren addictive? No. But the way that it made me feel.
Do you have a compulsive behavior?
When I'm walking into the gym, seeing that I'm the biggest guy in the room and I feel like a fucking god, yeah, that's addictive. And for the past year that I haven't been on stuff and I didn't have that feeling, I mean, you guys have seen.
And the year before that, when you made friends with me?
You're right. But you've seen where
Yeah.
I've been.
Yeah.
That's also the result of being on for so long and coming off.
Yeah.
There are psychological effects to it.
There are.
And when you are taking other medications for anxiety and stuff like that, and you're, fucking with your hormones, like there can be very devastating results.
Yeah.
There are documented cases of people that are on, was it SSRIs?
Yeah.
And they're, dabbling with anabolics and then they come off,
Yeah.
but they're still, they don't come off correctly because their doctor just tells them they need to quit. So they quit.
Right.
And then what happens?
They turn suicidal.
Yeah.
What's
not
Mike Bell?
Yeah.
He was one of them. I was just listening to a video where Chris Bell was talking about his brother got prescribed an SSRI.
Yep.
And I think it was Paxil.
Yep.
And started having suicidal tendencies.
And suicidal ideation.
Ideation. That's
that's and that's another on the platform. We'll talk about the mental aspects and
Yeah.
stuff. But
Absolutely.
when you start talking about the meds we were talking about before, and we were making fun of death, and then a worse side effect is anal leakage.
Yeah.
You start looking at some of the mood altering drugs.
Oh.
And some of those type things. Well, if I'm taking this for depression, one of the side effects is suicidal ideation. It seems like that might not be the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, how does that actually work? But aside from those, look, and I don't know. So I'll freely admit I know shit about gear. Like from talking to you guys, from what I've seen out there, the fact that I'm not doing anything, I've never really looked into it to that degree.
Yeah.
Anecdotally, and from hearing other people talk about it, there's the other effects too. There's the physical effects of it.
Yeah.
You talked about all those pieces. I've known some guys back before here when I had, Globo Gym memberships who ran into injuries and stuff because of. So if you look at, and I don't know, because we've never talked about this, does any of what you just talked about factor into your biceps?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, people are going into this thing. Now, I know from my side of it, from looking at how do I get stronger fast as I can, as natty as I am, as I want to be. I do a lot of looking at, and again, I am working with a coach now.
Yeah.
So I throw a lot of questions at him. Really smart guy. Before I was working with a coach, I had somebody write programs. Again, really smart guy. Knew his shit, so I'd ask questions. but I'd also go look and ask other people stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, well, if you, and this again from learning from pain, if you wind up building up muscle too quick, well, shit, you know what? Tendons don't grow as quick as muscle does.
Exactly.
No,
And-
they
and
do
that-
not.
Ligaments don't repair as quick as muscles or tendons do. So if you're adding that much, I'm not, yeah,
Fucking
triggered.
test case.
I know, yeah, over
Both
here.
of us.
And I've caused problems for myself. I've run into tendonitis more times than I can think,
Yeah.
and I've injured things by working the program hard enough to put muscle on faster than my tendons could keep up with.
Yeah.
And that's natural on a therapeutic level of test. Just
Mm-hmm.
basically where any normal 30-year-old, my numbers are where a 30-year-old would be. So I'm not that far off.
Right.
I wound up with some injuries from it, from running the numbers up, and then I get made fun of in the Globo gyms for quarter squatting. Well, guys, I'm not quarter squatting. I'm doing overloads to a short depth to try and force those tendons to catch up and stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But when you're running, maybe not even when you're running, and you're putting on muscle that fast and mass that fast. How many of the big injuries out there do we see are
yeah.
probably from the muscle outstripping the tendon
Yeah.
growth?
And-
Well, where's the and in my mind, where's the benefit of that though?
I will say I was very lucky that, like I said, starting lifting in the year 2000,
Mhm.
2020 was my first big injury. Yeah, I'd strain something, I'd pull something, I'd piss something off, and I'd have to train around it for a couple weeks or whatever. But I was never taken out of the game.
Mhm.
But 20 years in, I blew off both of my biceps at the same time. Now, I had been having tendonitis issues in that area.
So there was a little bit of just not listening to it and
Right. Well,
powering through.
I had been going to a PT.
Mhm.
And when I say going to a PT, one of my buddies had just graduated PT school that I was going to the gym with. And, working with him, I was basically the entire time that he was in school, like I was his practice dummy,
Yeah.
which what benefited me great. Probably prolonged me there for a while. But, I'm having issues and, both forearms and, the inside of just if I'm holding anything in the supinated position, when I let go, I'm having pain. And it's like I have to peel my hands off slowly, otherwise I'm getting shooting pain in my biceps that is like, makes me want to piss my pants and cry. And he told me straight up, he's like, your biceps are outgrowing, the muscle belly itself is outgrowing the tendons, it's outgrowing the ligaments, and you need to slow down so they can catch up. So I listened, and I did. I did back off of, the 2 dedicated arm days because I liked having 21, 22 inch arms and all that shit because it was an ego trip. And when I'd go to the bars, it, got me attention. Love that. So when I started backing off, I noticed the pain was going away, but like, obviously it wasn't enough time and I didn't do it soon enough. But when I had my little situation with that damn yoke that I bought off of you and sold to that damn gym, they popped off and they popped off really clean. I will say, I haven't had tendonitis issues since, but fix that. But yeah, I mean, definitely, if you're supplementing and all that, and your muscles are growing fast, and yeah, you're going to put yourself at a higher risk of injury. And I mean, you see it all the time. Like, how many stories come out of Westside about the guys, tearing a tricep off in a warm up on bench,
Packs
and it's because they'd been hammering triceps and all that to get their bench up, and they get to warm up at the meet and it's already exhausted and the tendons are weak and all that, and they blow that thing right off. And the only thing that was holding it on was their bench shirt.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is around prioritization and training though.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those issues in my mind. I've still got a lot of it under correlation instead of causation, because if you're the type of person that's going to push the envelope and start stepping into this world, well, you might not be the type of person that's going to sit there and dedicate, 10 to 15 minutes at the end of every workout to soft tissue work.
Right.
To actually help correct those issues before they ever get out of hand. Because it's not I'm not necessarily convinced that it's a necessary consequence. I think that it's just like anything else. If you actually train it the way that you should be training it in an intelligent way, so that it stays caught up. The lightweight, high rep band work, things like that,
Yeah.
to really push the blood through there. And, just to really try to reinforce that connective tissue, because that's one of the big issues with it, right? Is you don't have near as much blood flow into your connective tissues as you do into your muscle bellies. So when you talk to people, especially people that are, unabashed gear users, and they will tell you, you need to condition your connective tissue.
Yes.
And the way that you condition your connective tissue is lightweight, super high rep sets, a lot of times with, resistance bands, things like that. But that's that stupid shit that's like, sled pushes. You know that you're supposed to be doing it, but if there's anything that's going to get blown off, that's going to be the first thing that gets blown off.
Mhm.
Okay, I know that I need to be pushing a sled. Well, not right now, but 2 to 3 times a week, I need
He
to be,
admitted it, Josh. So
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
2 to 3 times a week, I need to be in the gym. I need to be doing sled pushes for just conditioning, overall body, development to aid in athleticism. Well, if I run out of time, which might just boil down to, I'm just not feeling it today.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things to go up and get sacrificed and wiped out.
And see, that's, when we're talking about prioritization, all that kind of plays into, if you're training the way that I was training back then, and your goal is to just go in the gym, give it hell, be as
Right.
big and strong, as much of a monster as you can,
Right.
Take out all of your, pent up teenage angst, because yes, you're in your 30s, but you're still in puberty because of the amount of testosterone that you're on. Like, one of the benefits of taking testosterone, whether it be TRT, HRT, or just, being a juice head, comes in is enhanced recovery, right?
Yeah.
You don't feel the miles that you've put on because your body's recovering. So if you're not thinking about that, then you don't prioritize, recovery. You don't prioritize, stretching or cool downs after any GPP stuff, because you feel fine. You feel strong. You feel good. You're going to the gym 6 days a week. And, the only reason you're not going on the 7th day is because your girlfriend said she would break up with you if you didn't take at least one damn day to spend with her. So that's,
so that's where you find the one that goes to the gym with you.
and I did. So,
But and then on top of that, though, depending on where you are ego wise, you're not going to be the guy that's okay just being over there while everybody else is lifting with the resistance band doing arm circles.
yeah,
That's-
exactly. But when you feel fine and you're not taking that time to do these things and prioritizing your training correctly, that's when you get yourself into the situation where you are going to have the injuries,
Right.
whether they be, minor and nagging, or something that's, devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, you could take all the shit that you want, but if you're not training properly, intelligently, it's not going to get you anywhere in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the gear allows you to do is get to the blowout faster.
Right. Like, you guys saw the picture that I posted up a couple weeks ago of me before the injuries.
Yeah.
Look at that and look at me now. That's two different people. So everything that I gained and everything that I put on physically, I lost all that. I lost all that because I trained like an idiot. I dosed myself like an idiot, and I didn't prioritize anything that I should have.
Yeah.
Now it's, it's not really too little too late, because I'm, on the road back to, getting back to that, but I have to do it a different way now, and it's going to take longer, but it's going to be more methodical.
Better.
It's going to be better. Yeah.
And more sustainable.
Exactly.
And yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I lucked into early on was I started with programs they were bodybuilder oriented.
Yeah.
All right. It was every muscle group every day, 6 days a week, chicken and rice and broccoli. And if I never see fucking cauliflower again for the rest of my life, it'll be too soon.
It's fine once you cover it with cheese sauce.
That's a super heavyweight shit.
And I got to a point where, I needed a goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to have a goal. And I was doing this bodybuilder stuff, and I was looking at it, and I tried the carb cycling shit, which different kind of cycling entirely, guys, but carb cycling, and I didn't do too good on it. I need my carbs. I like my carbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I realized pretty early on, probably a year and a half in, that I wasn't doing this bodybuilder stuff, but I needed a goal. I wasn't just going to go to the gym and exercise. If I
Right.
did that, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
Came across strongman and I was like, oh, this is good. Oh, look at these. Oh, shit, I can eat whatever the fuck I want.
Mhm.
Go beat the hell out of myself the same because I enjoy the rush at the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I lucked into, when I tried to find, how do I do this? I lucked into programming that prioritized all those things.
Yeah.
So everything in my early programming for strongman actually made me better. Granted, my first day training strongman, I wound up with a grade 2 SI tear.
His
But
first
that-
competition, he ended up with a broken toe.
But that was, well, that's a whole other story. But I got a grade 2 SI tear on my first official, I'm going to train for strongman day,
Yeah.
which is a whole, where I don't like doctors, I really don't like chiropractors. But the programming that I found and the programming that I got into from that prioritized all those things. It worked all of those things in
Yeah.
throughout the training.
Yeah.
Everything that we just talked about that people skip, that was the program.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The static stuff, the strength stuff was almost secondary. I say almost. It was a focus, but it was almost secondary to it. I'm still even though I'm not using those programs anymore. I'm on with a coach now. I'm still doing the giant set stuff. So
Yeah.
even now, a completely different mentality, a completely different guy. The way that he does things is entirely different. But all the things that I'm supposed to be doing are still part of the program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it worked well with me because I didn't have that fear of, okay, I'm gonna outstrip the growth on this and I'm gonna cause this problem. Yes, still injuries. I am one of these. You know what? I did my first comp that I went into without an injury and I came in 4th. So Bam figured out the recipe early on. I need something broken, something torn, something cut, and I'll win the comp.
Yep.
It's worked every time so far. Every time I've come home with gold, there's been an injury that would have kept somebody from competing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some wounded animal mentality. You know, but,
He's like a gazelle that got shot in the ass.
but
I was
But
thinking
yeah,
more of
so-
a Wolverine, but you know.
Yeah, either
yeah.
way.
it's
He's
all the
graceful,
rest
though.
of it. Nah.
Dude, that was the most beautiful trip and fall that I'd ever seen.
You know I'm gonna have to go find a clip and like splice that
Oh
out.
yeah.
So let's give it a minute. So we'll put the clip.
I will say, if you do put the clip in, if you saw it from the angle that I saw it, I thought that not only did he go down, but he bashed his whole face and teeth into the yoke. And I'm like, oh, we are going to all of the ERs today. I'm sitting there, Justin, did we get that insurance? Are we
fine.
covered?
It's fine. And quit using my Christian name.
Well-
Pookie, back it up. We gotta go.
we'll put the clip in here. So I'll put the clip in. And what I will say is from what you saw and what you saw wasn't actually the injury.
Right.
The injury came if you watch, and I'll try and put the slow down clip in. It's on Instagram. So I put every time I fuck up, every time I get hurt, every time I screw something up, I post it on Instagram. Back from comments that I had with some of the pros about people only post highlights. I post the lowlights.
Yeah.
I got to go collect
But
everything.
the lowlights are the highlights,
They
man.
are. They are. I got to collect this year's because last year on December 31st, I posted all of my fuck ups. And on the 1st, I posted all of my PRs.
Yeah.
So it was kind of,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But if you watch the clip that just ran and probably is still running while we're talking, because I'm going to do some magic at some point, I kicked the concrete.
Yeah.
When I came up and I came back down, my toe dug straight into the concrete.
Oh.
Ah. It shattered the entire, and I forgot the name of the bone, but from the first knuckle out, the entire thing was shattered.
Metatarsals?
Is it? No. I'm not sure.
Phalanges.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
From the first knuckle out, the entire thing was shattered. It swole up bad enough in my nanos, which I can wiggle my toes with my nanos, but it swole up bad enough that you could see the one shoe was swollen up.
Yeah.
And I didn't take the shoes off until I got home because there's no way I would have been able to put it back on. And that was the 3rd event out of 5 too.
Yeah.
So I took last in that event. I won the show.
Yeah.
A week later, because
Why
you
not?
don't necessarily need the list of gear that you ran to make stupid decisions.
No, absolutely
and
not.
over bravado. So the week after that, I go into another show and won that one too, including the truck pull, which was supposed to have been a pickup truck turned into a full Peterbilt with trailer that we pulled uphill.
Yeah.
over
Over a speed bump.
over a speed bump, and I won that event too. for most of the classes actually.
Yeah.
My
And then a week
Achilles
after
just
that,
re-ruptured thinking about it.
and then a week
They
after
had
that,
me
I worked.
screaming at him the whole way too.
I worked a USPA show as a spotter loader the entire day, and
Yep.
spotted and loaded from the morning until the night. I didn't take a break. So
You talk about prioritizing recovery.
yes,
I will say that was for our first show. That one was really successful because we had 2 injuries:
Yeah.
a broken toe and it blew out his bicep.
Yeah.
Well, that was another interesting one. If you look at, and it's probably a whole topic in and of itself. That guy came in; he'd never done that before.
Never
right?
done it before,
No.
and did an axle deadlift with no straps.
He was a cousin of a friend of mine, and he's just like, "Yeah, man, I'll do it."
Just still a friend of yours?
Yeah.
Now you tried to kill my cousin?
Oh yeah. Yeah, good guy.
Oh, a
No,
graceful injury. He's like, man, I think I blew my bicep off. Or, or he's like, no, I hurt my arm a little bit. And he showed me. I'm like, that's not there anymore, man. And he's like, and I felt bad. He was like, hey, these things happen.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't feel that way when I blew my biceps off. I was,
Well,
I didn't realize I had done it for like a week, but that's a whole nother story.
I wish I had video of my most recent fail. I really do.
I think Josh wishes that you did too.
Yeah.
Just so he'd have something to comment on and give you help.
I think Josh would keep posting that clip over and over again with different edits.
He probably would. I love you, Josh.
We all do.
I'm still keep doing me, baby.
That's what we're scared of.
But I mean, keep it in perspective. I'm 43 years old. The amount of weight that I lift, not to pat myself on the back, because I don't consider myself elite. I don't consider myself in the upper echelon of strongman. But when I tell a normal person I ruptured my Achilles tendon because I was carrying 700 pounds recreationally.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So it's like,
My favorite though is him, blowing his taint out on a box jump.
yeah.
That's what I tell everybody. Like, you got to understand, this dude, 300. And by the way, every time I tell the story, you get heavier.
Yeah.
So I think you're
4 and a quarter.
You're about 4 and a quarter right now, doing like a fucking 44-inch box jump.
Yeah. But I mean, still, put that in perspective. 300, 375, 380 at the time.
Yeah.
Doing, I think is either a 20 or 22-inch box jump.
Yeah.
As a warm-up to fire up for a deadlift.
Yes.
Because things weren't firing. That's a huge impulse being generated through everything. So, yeah, everything I do, by virtue of the fact that it's me doing it, is extreme to normal people. And when you compare it to what a normal 43-year-old does in the gym, if they hit a plate and a quarter for bench for 3 reps, most of them are happy.
Yeah.
You guys keep going. I'll be right back.
All right.
And I got an interesting comment when we get back.
All right. So, it's not, people want to act like there's injury prevention in strongman and there's mitigation to an extent.
Right.
But motherfucker, this is an extreme sport.
Yeah, it's not if you're going to get injured. It's when. Yeah, absolutely.
It's 100% if you stick around this sport, any kind of strength sport. I mean, Highland Games can take your ear off from just driving to the competition the wrong way.
I was driving to a wedding venue and I was going to practice throwing after.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are, powerlifting. Can you blow out a knee? Yep.
Yeah.
Can you tear a pec, tear a
Absolutely.
tricep, tear a quad, tear a hamstring, tear all sorts of things, break things?
I mean, and especially when you start looking at the more, what's now considered the extreme end of powerlifting, when you're getting into the geared lifting and all that, the untested federations where, they just absolutely giving it hell.
1,200 pound bench.
Yeah.
You do not survive dropping that.
It's not if there's going to be an injury at this competition, it's how many.
Right. And how severe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's, and yeah, I'm saving up for a bench shirt right now, a banded bench shirt, and gonna buy one. Why? Because I can. Because you know what?
Why not?
Why not?
Plus, I mean, that price that they've got on those things, we have to buy them.
Yeah.
It was too much fun the other night.
Yeah. But this is testing your limit. Even the guys that are going raw with reps.
Yeah.
Even if you are seriously training strength, no matter what, if you start testing your 1 rep max, if you start testing the upper end of your strength,
You're putting yourself in a position.
right, you are running up to barriers
Oh, yeah.
that are set either by your physiology, or your mental strength.
Right.
And my mental strength was game that day, but my damn Achilles tendon was not.
Well, to save your dick string next time, let me make a simple recommendation.
What's that?
I like warming up with kettlebell swings for deadlifts better.
I don't get the explosiveness out of it.
Well, that's where you need to.
I know, but just when I do now, if I do kettlebell snatches, I can focus a little bit more on the explosiveness. And I like doing those after. That's actually something I think I got from Donnie Thompson. One of his videos, he talked about after a heavy deadlift set, go to kettlebell snatches for the contrast, because you're going from grinding to an explosive hip hinge.
Yeah.
So I do like that contrast, but I mean, yeah.
I like box jumps before squats. Bam doesn't, but I do.
No, just regular vertical jumps before squats, yes.
Well, we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah, for me right now, box jumps is just, if I have one more concussion, I'm just going to be cross-eyed, not know who I am, and, drooling in the corner. So when I see gym fail videos all the time of people doing box jumps and slipping and, cracking their face off of something.
I still wish I had that one.
Oh.
That was probably the most epic box jump that had ever been done. And there's no video of it.
No.
And that's the reason, by the way, we're going to put cameras up in the corners just to catch that one that the phone's not running, the camera's not running, because there's been too many of them.
Yeah.
The most epic box jump. It was right after it started. I was still doing the bodybuilder stuff, and there was the videos about box jumps. So I went in the gym. They had soft boxes, so we stacked them up.
Yeah.
60 inches. I stacked these things up. I'd already done 40. Was it 40? Then I did 44. And I was like, man, that was pretty good. Let me do 60. I'm going to do a standing box jump. So we got the 60. I stood there. Man, I launched so friggin' high. I went over the top of the damn thing. I went over the top of it and didn't think to put my feet down. So as I start coming back down, I wound up somehow turned and I went head first right behind the boxes up against the wall. It hit so hard, the people from the supermarket next door came into the gym to find out what the noise was. The entire gym came running over, and I'm standing up going, oh, shit. Put them back. I can do that again. You raised a point. I was looking at the time a second ago, and probably got like one more little transition here into something. Right. But it was actually another topic that I can't remember if I put on the list for random ideas. Something that we chatted about at his wedding. You're talking about 700 pounds and walking with it.
Yeah.
What does that mean to the normal person? I mean, we're sitting here talking about these things.
Yeah.
And I was upset. What was it? It was a few weeks ago. I didn't hit a deadlift I wanted to hit, or it felt harder than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it really hit me when I was making a list of topics for these things. How many people can actually pick that up, though? I'm 45 years old.
Yeah.
And my numbers are still climbing. I just hit another PR, which I'm sitting there going, yeah, I don't know if I didn't even post the numbers on Instagram and stuff. Because, man, it's not a big number.
But it is.
Well, shit. That's multiples of my body weight now.
Yeah. But
to me, I'm sitting there and in the group, our group of friends and the community, I'm like, man, that's not shit for a number. We see it all the time. Folks will post something. Well, I know this isn't heavy. And everybody's like, no, don't crap on your achievements.
Yeah.
But if we think about it, even the ones where somebody's posting, like what was that, 495?
Yeah.
So 495 was an all-time for me because I stopped training conventional. I trained axle and frame and everything else. That was the most I'd ever tested off the ground. And it moved. I said, I was like I think that was like RP 9 or a little more. And coach said, that's maybe an 8.
Yeah.
He said, we're going to up it again. But 45 years old, I weigh right now 2.25.
Right.
That was more than double body weight.
Yeah.
Granted, we've got people out there that are going for 5 times body weight now.
Yeah.
Right? And I get that. And I can still see that and go, oh yeah, crap. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But to think about without being derogatory, let's say normies.
Yeah.
To think about normies walking in and looking at that, and that I could go to a lot of the global gyms, and that'd be the biggest pull in the gym.
Yeah.
And I'm older than a lot of these people, but to me, it's still not. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
where
that's
does that come in with with the rest of this, with your choices to do what you did and what you just talked about? How does that even line up? Is that part of it or because of it?
Yes.
yeah,
I mean, we are extreme personalities.
absolutely. And there's been ever since 2008 when I saw that damn movie.
Yeah.
There was something that Mike Bell said, and it is a phrase that has stuck with me ever since then, and it's kind of become my own theme to my life. It's I'd rather be dead than average.
Yeah.
So the other night when I was here and I pulled 405 for a triple, that is the most that I've pulled since the accident. That's the most that I've been able to. Well, the most I've pulled for reps since the accident, and the most that I've been able to pull, since the brain stuff kind of started advancing without like getting dizzy and feeling like I was going to fall over. Now I look at that, and from that aspect, I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I compare it to me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I'm like, man, that's a shit number.
Yeah.
That's pussy weight for me.
Right.
But it's not. It is, if I'm comparing to back then, sure. But I posted it, and I've got people that are, sending me, replies to the story or whatever, and people that go to the gym, people that are, serious bodybuilders and all this, that, they move weight, and they're like, man, that's fucking impressive. Holy shit, blah, 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 blah. And, to me, it's like, really? Is it? And I have to remember, they don't do what I do.
Right.
The average person does, like, my mom sees some of the shit that, I post to my lifts, and she gets worried about me.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is nothing compared to, like, if I had Instagram 5 years ago and posted the stuff I was doing in the gym, my mom would have had a heart attack.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, to us, what we do is normal.
Mm-hmm.
To normies, it's not. But when you're in this, for lack of a better word, lifestyle, and this is what you do, it doesn't register that what you did is something incredible to somebody else. That it's something that's, extraordinary. Because we see what's going on, what other people are doing in the community, and it's like, oh, we're keeping pace. But you fail to realize that, we are in the 1% of the 1%, of people in the world that are lifting weights. Yeah, are we pro level? Are we, Brian Shaws or Zournises that are, the strongest people to ever walk the earth? No. But we do share that weird percentage of humanity with them.
Yeah. That,
like, we do this thing that is normal to us.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, cops and military guys or whatever, when they're at a bar and they're just trading war stories and talking shit, and they're laughing about things that the other people around them that work at fucking Citibank and shit are like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Like,
Yeah.
what? Oh shit, it's not normal for me to to talk about the time that the drunk guy, fell out of the car while he was driving and ran over his own legs, and that shit was the funniest shit I ever saw.
Well,
Like,
I've never worked in the field, but
Right.
I gotta say that is the funniest shit.
yeah, like, that's hilarious. But to Jennifer and Rebecca sitting next to us at the bar, they're fucking mortified.
Yeah.
So you take that and you apply it to your 495 lift, and that's a PR, but you're like, it could be more, whatever. Yeah, the average guy is going to be like, holy shit, that's insane. And the one thing that kind of put it in perspective a little bit, but it was comical, was the Strongest Men in History show, when they had their average man.
Yeah.
And to us, we see this guy, he's like, he's 185 pounds, he's 5'8", and we're like, that's not average, he's fucking tiny. But then you think about it, that kind of is
That's
average.
actually probably slightly above average, because he's probably somewhat active to be at 185 pounds.
Right, exactly.
And running.
So
routes.
you see, it's comical to watch, because we're like, I could probably, at least lap that stone and this guy just shit his pants just trying to move it.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
so. Yeah, it's just
But here's the other side of it. It doesn't fucking matter
no
because I'm not going to compete against an average guy.
right.
Yeah.
Because we're in a strength sport, our outcomes are objectively measured. So it doesn't matter. You know, my best all-time deadlift from the floor is 635. It's a shit deadlift, and I will die on that hill that is a shit deadlift for a super heavyweight. Now, 98% of people in the world would be proud to have that deadlift.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that that's my deadlift.
Yeah.
And I cannot take solace in the fact that these other people are like, man, that's great. You know, I don't go on a diatribe about it when they say that. It's like, you know, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But in my mind, that's a shit deadlift.
Right. Well, it's like, just as an example, when I was training at Steel Mill,
Mhm.
I don't know if I should say the name of the gym, but when I was training, when I was going
Well,
to
it was the other one. They're not there anymore.
yeah, they don't exist anymore. But when I was going to that gym
Yeah.
and training, you know, here and there, I went there because they had a deadlift jack. And I was there one day during the middle of a class, and I was just pulling, 500 for singles. I think I did like 8 singles. But to me, that was nothing. It was just a average day. But an entire class of probably 20 people stopped what they were doing,
Yeah.
stopped what they're paying $150,000 a month or whatever the hell the fucking stupid membership fee is for a CrossFit gym. Absolutely ridiculous, people. Get your fucking priorities straight. You can get the programs for free every day online at CrossFitHQ.com. Anyway, I stopped an entire class that came over into the next room where I was at to watch me pull what to me was an average lift because they had never seen anyone in that gym do that.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, man, it's fucking Tuesday. I'm pulling 500 pounds. But they're just like, oh my God, like, you're going to do that again? I'm like, I can do it like 4 more times. And then I'm going to go to Crystal because I'm hungry.
That always seemed weird before I had the gym and I'd train in the driveway or out in the street and people would come out and look at it and watch it. I was like, I'm warming up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how much is it? I don't know. I haven't put all the weight on it yet.
Yeah.
I don't know what I just put another plate. So
Right.
when I finish loading it, then I know what it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
well, we were
people
we were
they think we're weird for it too. Like,
true. I'm sitting there watching YouTube and I think it was Brian Shaw was visiting Nick Best.
Yeah.
It was one of those videos. And they're doing log press.
Mhm.
I can't remember if Eddie was there. I think Eddie was there. I think it was one of those. It was a couple of years ago. And my wife was watching and my daughter walked out and they're looking at it like, oh my God, look at all the weight on that. I was like, it's 400 something pounds. That's a lot of weight, but he just put body weight over his head. I did that yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah.
You lifted that? No, I put my own body weight over my head. So there's a difference in size too.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel small right now because I just dropped a good bit of weight. But
Yeah, me too.
I'm at 2 1/4 at just over 6 foot. So technically I'm overweight.
Yeah.
I'm a little on I'm still working on losing some more and slimming down a little bit. But the numbers that I'm putting up, they're still climbing.
Yeah.
We talked about that before. They're still going up. So I'm still happy. I don't know where they'll be in the summer.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot what I pulled 600 on the axle,
Yeah.
So a few years ago, I never would have thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just didn't even make sense.
Yeah.
But they're still going up. When I was, so I made the joke when I was volunteering with OSG and we were setting up. I said, you know what? I think next year I think I'll compete. I think that's a lot less work and I'll still get to be here and hang out with you guys. And the first time I said it was a joke.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting there looking at this. I was like, 40 plus, the lightest guy outweighed me by 100 pounds.
Mhm.
I started looking at some of the weights and I made a comment to the coach and I was like, what do you think? So I'm going to go to the Mid-Atlantic qualifier.
Yeah.
And the joke that we left on was, I'm probably going to come in like, 29th out of 30.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, maybe I'm not even going to try. And somebody turned around. I was like, yeah, but dude, that's 29 out of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, there's the different aspects of it with
Well,
what are we doing? Is this a big number? Is this,
yeah.
anything to look at? But to your point, it's the percent of the percent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're 3 1/4, while possibly ill-advised for just normal training.
I have no regrets.
I'm sorry, 350.
350.
He took 50 pounds away from me, baby.
No.
The disrespect.
I'm trying to remember. That's why I corrected it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
350 a hand.
Because I thought it was 375 when I
Yeah.
talked to him the other day, and he said, no, it wasn't 370. So I was subtracting the 25.
Yeah.
I just subtracted it twice. That's I can pick that up.
Yeah. And then
Maybe
you
for-
could probably
maybe for
take
a
a step
second.
with it.
I don't know if I can
And-
get a step with it. Depends on if there's knurling or
And
not.
if he did it again, you'd probably get another step. And that's the thing, is that wasn't the first time I picked that weight up and done
No.
farmers with it. He's
Yeah.
seen me do farmers
yeah.
with 350 before. This was just the first time that I tried to push an extra 3 steps. And that was 1 step too
Yeah,
many.
there was that one night where you and I just decided, yeah, we're going to do farmers. And I think I got up to like 300 a hand before my grip just said, now we're done.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just, let's throw 50 more on each side. And I was like, all right, well, let's see what happens. And
Yeah.
picked it up and just started going. I mean,
And that was after doing giant sets too.
yeah.
That's why we had the farmers handles out, because I was running a giant set with the farmers carry
Mhm.
as my athletic movement, and I was doing it at the time. I think during the sets it was 250-ish, 230, 250.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nothing, nothing to write home about, but a good training stimulus.
Yeah.
But after I was sufficiently warmed up, then it's, well, fuck, let's see what we can do.
Mhm.
Well, the 250 at your show for the farmers was the most I'd ever picked up and moved with farmers.
Yeah.
I'd stood there with 275. I got him off the ground. What was that? 4 months before. Didn't think I could pick him up. Picked him up. And then I picked him up and ran with him. Yeah, it was novice, but there's some big guys in novice that
Yeah,
day.
There were.
And I picked it up and ran with it. And what was the frame? 5 1/4, 550, something.
Something like that.
All I can remember about that damn frame was I didn't expect to get it up,
Yeah.
because I don't think I'd actually cleared that much on a frame before, at that height too. But I got it up, and then the next thing I remember is trying to figure out why the hell I was still lifting it. So for anybody that never saw the clip, because I had like 100 followers on Instagram at the point in time, we did the farmers, we did the frame, and I'm standing there with the frame. And the best, I went last. I think I was in first place, so I got to go last on that one. The next best was like 10, 9, 10. And I remember doing 11. I'm like, oh, good, I'm done. I won. I'm the last one to go. I can stop. And these two and
As
another
the
guy are
MC.
standing there. Keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm
Orville.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Orville
Orville.
was there, and then I was on the MC. Come on, guys, let's keep it going.
so I'm,
Guys, give it up for Trip.
Yeah.
Come on, Trip. And
God.
everybody's,
I
yeah.
think I got like 15, and I stopped and I looked over at Orville and I was like, did I win? He's like, yeah.
4 reps ago.
You
All right,
could have stopped
so
already.
So that was the day I learned not to ask the judge or anything else, because again, in the comp a week later, I'm doing a Viking press. And
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody got 8, and I'm at like 15, and I looked at the judge. You were standing there.
Yeah.
And I looked at the judge. I was like, dude, was that enough? He's like, I don't know. Keep going.
And I'm like, just stop. Put it down. Put it down. Put it down. Put it down.
But thinking of those, man, like what's a normie think about carrying your own body weight in each hand? Whether it's my body weight or your body weight, I mean, what does that really look like?
Yeah,
I see people joking about carrying all the groceries in one trip. It's like,
yeah.
man,
But
I
I
can't
mean,
afford that many groceries.
for a lot
I'm
of
not
people,
impressed unless you're carrying the last bag in between your, squeezing your glutes.
I mean, a lot of people, if you told them to do farmers carries with 80-pound dumbbells, they'd have a hard time with it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just it's just not a movement. If you're not in strongman, you probably don't do loaded carries.
Yeah, it's like the amount of people that I have come in and they want to buy a pair of 50 or 70 pound kettlebells to do farmers carries with.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But again, here we sit, and I'm upset with,
The only, I will say, the only lift I've ever been like truly proud of was when I hit 355 overhead. That was okay. I'm not getting into elite level strength, but I'm comfortable enough to say that I'm striking distance.
The funny thing about that, though, is that was because of the 20-inch box jump.
Yeah.
when
No, that was when I first broke 315.
right, but that whole just journey
That
into
run.
was because
block.
you pulled your groin, and there's no squatting, there's no deadlifting, so you decided that you were going to do
A small junior
cycle
on overhead press.
So the moral of the story
What
is
you
if
put-
you want to build your overhead press, pull your dick string.
That's
Is
right.
that- and what would you put on, like 50 pounds on your overhead press in like just a couple of months?
Close to that. I mean,
Like, it
I
was
went from
nuts.
No, it was so I went from 285,
From 285 to 355.
70 pounds in a year.
Yeah,
70 pounds in a year on my overhead
that's
press.
insane. There are
It was
guys
still
that are,
moving up.
right there, but there are guys at pro level that a 70-pound jump over the course of a year is a career changer.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, hell, a 20-pound for power lifters. I mean, you ask them what they do to put 20 pounds on two of their lifts, they'll probably start talking about amputating body parts.
yeah, for sure. I mean,
So
I tried that, but apparently taking your ear off doesn't put you in the
Needs to
adaptive class.
needs to be a bigger body part, man.
yeah.
My ears are pretty big.
Yeah,
Well,
but you only gave half of it.
Look, it wasn't for lack of trying. All right.
But yeah, so I guess the other moral of the story is don't quit training because you're injured. Just get creative.
Yeah. So I think next time, or at least one of the next ones that we do, we should talk about the mental aspect, especially when it comes to injury and all that, and how that can affect your training.
Well, that'll tie in good because as I guess kind of a part of a wrap up. We've got the list of other topics and other ideas, and one of the next ones that I want to do, I did get the dynamometer for the grip.
Nice.
Because that's going to be a lot easier to test than trying to go run over and pull max effort deadlifts repeatedly through the podcast. It can be kind of miserable. Even with,
I think it'd be fun.
it could be, even with chocolate, salt, element, water.
Oh God.
But one of the very next topics I want to do is to talk about both the mental aspect of lifting, the mental aspect of the rest of life.
Yeah.
But the CNS arousal that
Yeah.
we talked about. I don't know if there's enough. We'll have to see how it goes. Whether we can break into the just the psyching yourself up and the music aspect of it. But definitely, we're going to pick up some ammonia.
Yeah.
Because we all have very differing opinions on it.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll have to order some to my hotel room because I'll be out of town on the next one.
we're gonna wait till you're back.
Oh, okay.
We know your timing. We'll time till you're
okay.
back.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to.
I mean, we might do one or two and just talk shit about you while you're gone.
Those are the
Well,
best
so that's-
ones to call in for.
That's the cool thing is we've got this really cool studio thing where we can do a Zoom and you can join
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
But that one, there's a physical aspect to it.
There
So
is.
we'll wait until you're back to do that.
All right.
But look at the that mental aspect of it and
Yeah.
how to get to that lift, how to get that extra. Does it actually, or does it just make you think you do?
Right.
But thinking you do, is that enough to get you there?
Oh yeah,
You
because
know.
you got to get into the placebo effect, and that is interesting shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
So-
100% one of the most interesting things.
Yep. So we'll pick up some different kinds of ammonia. We've got the dynamometer to be able to test it. There are other things that we are planning, including things like, I know it's long gone now, but like the Thor's Challenge and actual physics behind it. We're not going to use a whiteboard. We're actually going to hang stuff with scales.
Are we going to talk about how much a Titan log actually weighs? Or?
We can discuss the weight of an actual Titan log.
Sorry, I'm
We do have a Titan log we can weigh. We've got,
Someone's salty.
chocolate salty.
Balls.
But yeah, so we'll get into the mental aspect from probably three different angles. That's probably a platform talk in and of itself.
Yeah, very much so.
But I think, except for a couple of little trips to the side here, It was actually probably a pretty good first one.
Yeah.
I
To
think
go
so.
ahead and wrap up on.
Yeah,
I will say it's a little chillier than when we started.
it is
A little bit.
I think. I know me. I've been sitting here shivering a little bit.
feeling
But-
I'm under 300 pounds now, so I'm getting a little chilly.
Yeah.
We're still representing 3 weight classes, guys.
Yeah, it's true.
wow.
So hey, thanks for coming out for this.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a blast.
And,
Look forward to more of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need to thank everybody that sat through at least part of it.
Yeah.
All 3 of you. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
All 3 of you. And we actually didn't drive far enough off the cliff to wind up having to split it out. I think we'll run the whole thing out there.
All right. Good deal.
I do want to put a link over to 904 Strength Club YouTube channel / Instagram for the more in-depth gear discussion.
Yeah. Not.
Well, a little more specific on some of the things.
Yeah.
I mean, we threw names out. We didn't talk about what any of them do,
Yeah.
why you wouldn't, or any of that,
Mhm.
that stuff outside of HRT. And that's, again, with me not really being interested in going down that road, it's not something I wanted to dive into too deep here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Just like-
that's why I wanted to present mine as, like I said, a warning label. Like,
Well, you definitely serve as a really good warning label
Don't
for a
I?
lot of things.
yeah,
I may function as a bad example, but you definitely got the warning label.
yeah. like, don't do what he does, or you might end up like this.
I don't know that any of us really represents a solid set of
Well, there's a commonality of bad decision making.
There is.
It just they're different bad decisions.
Yeah. Mine usually aren't intentional. It's usually like, today's a good day. Let's see what we can do to make it not a good day.
Yeah, you're just out there tempting fate.
Yeah.
Let's see which cliff we can drive over.
Yeah. 900-pound safety squat bar march.
Well, now who's salty?
That was a beautiful thing.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. And again, to everybody watching, thank you. Thanks for sitting through it. Element, I know you're not going to sponsor us after this, but I do plan on ordering up one of these citrus salt ones.
Yes.
I really like that one.
I might do the same.
So,
I kind of like a couple of them. I'm not mad at them, other than the chocolate.
well, I mean, look, it's subjective. Everybody's got a slightly different taste.
And all of us fucking hate it.
Somebody out there is buying them.
No, somebody probably got run the fuck off over that idea.
They're just waiting until the next print.
Because that's what I would do. I would run that motherfucker off.
Well, I'll have to see after they do the next batch of prints if there's still all the same stripes on there.
Yeah, are they going to double down and throw a white fudge in there?
No,
God.
we'll leave on that. I don't have any fancy music to end with here,
Yeah.
so we'll just wrap it up. We'll throw some fancy music. And
Cut it
graphics,
in.
and we'll do that later.
All right.
And if you want a gem like this, refitnation.com.
Wait for the sponsorship check.